It seemed weird to perceive. All right, let's head into our ban phase here. Marks, looks like first up is going to be Lunar Snow coming from Envy, and that's, of course, great for trying to shut down the Psylocke.
Yeah, and there goes that Mantis that we talked about. So Citadel are going to be very, very happy. They've been able to gut some parts of a rescon position, and they've also been able to impact Speedery coming on through on that potential Ultron. And as we talked about, there's the Captain America coming on through for Poly too.
Yeah, that's going to be Poly prioritized when it comes to the ban phase. Of course, both of our coaches are on stage right now, live talking through the bans with their team, being able to input directly. We've got Gator and Salah, both very experienced when it comes to these phases. Human Torch is gone next. And I wonder if Envy are going to have to match that ban, because there is a position where maybe you could see a Protect come through from Citadel and get an uneven Torch.
Well, now that Envy have lost access to Mantis, they're going to actually go after the Ultron before saving themselves Cloak and Dagger. So that backline is secure. They're going to have the Cloak and Dagger. They're going to have the Luna. Psylocke is still in the mix for Envy and Speedery. We've seen him get targeted in terms of flyers. Now we're going to see him lose access to the Psylocke because Emma was up, Luna was up. Those two combined are a Psylocke's best dream.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to force a Storm pick here from Speedily. For Citadel, what do they prioritize for their last Protect here? Maybe the Human Torch, but also having something like a better strategist. Yeah, there we go. The Cloak and Dagger, very important for the overall survivability. Don't want to be forced onto a necessary triple strategist.
One-sided Terror Cape as well is something that is absolutely terrifying. 28% increased damage coming on through for 3 seconds with a 12-second cooldown is absolutely insane to be able to go after, especially if you're able to hit it onto a majority of players when they're sitting inside their own strategist ultimate, as we're going to be seeing a Star-Lord ban come through from Envy, and that's because Tanuki, one of the things that Tanuki would go for if he was banned out of Black Panther and he wasn't able to get his Wolverine, would be the Star-Lord.
Yeah, they're letting the Human Torch ride here, but likely they've read that they're probably going to be going up against the Black Panther, so they don't need to ban the Human Torch, because Black Panther and Human Torch are both Tanukis when it comes to his role on this team.
Yeah, and I mean, for Citadel too, you're going to have the Human Torch up. Do we see an Invis woman come through? Because normally, like 9 times out of 10, Cloak and Dagger is the better strategist. I think we're both in alignment when it comes to that particular one. But when you have Human Torch and you get your sibling team up and you get that additional armor to be able to survive, especially because if it is going to be some of those other maps instead of Eldritch Monument where you don't have a lot of natural terrain to be able to hide around, it can be pretty brutal for those flyers up in the sky.
All right, heroes and villains, let's get into our first map of the day. Citadel Gaming Berber, our EMEA #1 seed, going up against the #3 from America. But a lot of people will think of it right now. They're #1. It's Envy.
Let's see how these two regions are going to interact. EMEA versus NA. Compositions we've seen in the past being pretty similar, as Envy are going to be rolling out with the Jeff just for the speed bubble for now before swapping on over. As Citadel, they're going to be speeding into this fight with a strange teleport immediately off the rip.
Okay. Early pranks potentially trying to grab someone as they roll on through. Terror Cape instantly. Question is, who have they caught with it? Poly just going to move over into a little bit of healing. Make sure that they're sustained, and Speedery being able to take everybody out here. Look at that collective damage. He was really creating unfair fights here and allowing repositioning using the speed. Yeah,
and Pokey actually used the Soul Bond very early on as they came through from that portal, so they don't have it now to play aggressively as they walk into the space that Envy already control. Spam pressure comes on through from Tanuki, just trying to take some of that space that Envy had and barter it back to Citadel's side.
All right, at the moment it seems like Citadel have most of the space on the point, but Window's going to be walking on up to get that. Month is down, and so's Nero! The entire strategist line's collapsed, but Tanuki feels the pressure starting to roll on up. Poke's going to fall on down as well. Envy know that it's do or die right here, as you have to go all or nothing with no heals behind them. The aggression doesn't quite pay off as Ken managed to hit pay dirt with the life spores, and that's going to be a first cap here for Citadel.
Yeah, Pokey's actually going to burn the self-cocoon to come on back into that fight too, so that Citadel have an immediate stand on that point, and Envy can't go for a fast reconnection, especially when they're running that storm. They can get into these fights a lot faster than their opponent, as we're going to see Window onto that Groot, trying to set up for a strangling prison combo, potentially with the Storm Omega Hurricane.
Yeah, this might make Enzo be a little bit of fear as well. You can try and fly away from those walls, but all the low ceilings here in the frozen airfield, it can get difficult. In towards the back with the Omega Hurricane. Supernova going to be used in response here from Tanuki. An inhospitable environment gets rid of Ken, who might well be able to resurrect themselves thereafter and come back with a soul resurgence. Enzo's for next to fall on down. Deep in the enemy territory as Alex has to fade away into the Dark Force dimension. It's a quick dodge away from Tanuki to get away from that Sonic Seduction. For now, the wiles of Emma will be resisted, but Alex not going to be quite so lucky. Tanuki strikes on back as Alex is brought on back with the Karmic Revival. Kaluj getting up close to Enzo. Envy's not been able to flip the point right now, though. Citadel's doing a great do-si-do to try and keep themselves onto there. Alex kicked into the wall. No, it's a little bit of a miss there from Kaluj, and the map has started to move, which complicates matters. And the Sonic Sentience cannot be grabbed. Kaluj getting up close now with a fully charged beam. Month helps out in the end, and Envy still cannot cap, but they're close to pay dirt.
I mean, typical Res comp, you don't need to win the fight, you just need to not lose it. And they've been able to stall to almost 70% off of the back of it. Envy now playing all the way back from 0% too. We're going to have to invest a lot of these ultimates. The Citadel actually going to be swapping Enzo over to that Magneto. They've seen the Groot. They want to have that Meteor M to be able to absorb the Strangling Prison.
Yeah, could be a great amount of heal that is going to be available here. Tanuki has to decide on the pathing as well. Early use of the Omega Hurricane here. This could be an easy disengage for the side of Citadel. But they find Ken and Pokey in the corner. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong winds. Fan the flames as Envy holds strong.
Yeah, good economy too coming on through from Envy. One fight win, one ultimate invested, 38% of the point picked up off of the back of it. However, Enzo has been able to poke up with that Magneto, building up the Meteor M, and they do have that Eternal Bond from the Cloak and Dagger too. Envy don't have a one-shot here, and that's the problem that Month has to deal with when the Magneto ultimate comes through and manages to hit pay dirt.
Strangling Prison in the hands of Window could be everything here. Good peel coming through from Kaluj. For now, the Phoenix has been identified. Tanuki getting rather low, having to dodge away as best they can. Up to the skies for Phoenix, holding on to this. And it's a premature use of the Meteor M. It gets instantly burned on down by the focus fire of Citadel. And Month in the back. Oh, that's a great right click. And Pokey's getting even more done. That's what a true hit scan can do on the Adam. And Pokey is just racking up frag after frag. Unbelievable performances from a young member.
Oh my goodness. The Strangling Prison was huge. They played it perfectly. They waited for the Meteor M so it didn't get absorbed, and it's just not enough to be able to blitz down the pure sustainability that is offered by three strategists. Tanuki even getting the suppressing fire quite literally with the Supernova on the point too. We're barreling towards Final Fight territory, Harry, and Citadel are in full control. They've got a Karmic Revival fight coming up too. Cal's down before Envy can break out with the Psionic Seduction, and Citadel just bait the ultimates, and everyone's back on the map.
Pokey has the res good to go. Spirit is going to try and rack them all down with the Omega Hurricane. Forced to disengage as a Freedom Charge rolls on forward. Citadel they say that it's free, and Tanuki tends to agree as Window falls down. Nero's going to be joining him. Cloak and Dagger has to go into the Dark Force dimension to try and find some respite from the dives of Captain America. And Envy are wiped off the board by Citadel here on the first stage of Hell's Heaven.
There's a little bit of mind games coming into play, it feels like, because Envy, they weren't anticipating that it was going to be an Adam facing them on the other side of the strategist line, it feels like. If they knew that, then Groot would have been the rollout from the start, so that you can use things like the Iron Walls to be able to block off the heal LOS snaps coming on through from that Adam as well, stopping that poke damage, being able to hit those crit shots and instantly refresh 1 second of your cooldown can be pretty crazy. And Citadel, they played it smart with the bans. They were like, oh, we don't have Star-Lord? We're not going to be playing triple res. We'll definitely be playing dive. You guys should play a comp for dive.
Yeah, like, you got to deal with our dive, bro. Don't worry about triple res. That's cringe. Nah. We've got it in the back pocket the entire time. Pokey's getting so much done. Off those right clicks, still Envy. We've seen this happen to them before against Random. They managed to reverse sweep on Hell's Heaven fairly easily. This is a team that's fantastic at adjustments.
Yeah, Citadel are going to have the much better first fight too in terms of ultimate charge that carries over from the previous domination round. Alex is going to hit Eternal Bond far sooner than Month, and it is just going to be an absolute race between these two strategists to be able to build that ultimate as Citadel once again all in, but Envy are prepared. What a goddess boost coming on through from Speedery.
Oh, look at those walls that came up from Window as well. Either side of the portal exit. Huge DPS from the group. Great heads up play, and of course, Speedly was holding on to their goddess boost as well to get all that damage out.
Yeah, the second that Citadel hop on through, it paints a target right on their backs, and like you said, Envy, instead of splitting, they stack. Alex does have that eternal bond, but you're gonna have to hold it. It's got CC immunity as well as healing frames, so it's perfect to stop Window from having pick potential with the Strangling Prison.
Cal for now doing their best to avoid the auspices of Poly. Constantly scary in the backline. Jaws theme begins to play. They need to find their moment. Window was already up at the front with a Strangling Prison that needs to be brought into account by the side of Berber. In towards the back now. Freedom charge. Only halfway there here for Poly, but instead it's going to be the Supernova. It just takes so much damage. Window can't stand up to it. But Ken not quite going to be so lucky there. Falls down to the Eternal Bond. It's Poly in the back. Omega Hurricane straight over onto the Cloak and Dagger. Maybe they can get up onto high ground. Speely just waits below. It's going to be Cal straight into the window. An attempt to try and hit Tanuki in midair. Doesn't quite get what's needed. But moving forward with the fate of both worlds, it's just so difficult to get Envy off of this point. Nero comes in, the hero that's required, and saves the day for Envy, keeping them in control.
Yeah, Citadel just weren't quite able to chain together the ultimates that they wanted. Freedom charge almost up, so too was Soul Resurgence, but Ken and Poly were both perfectly focused down by Envy. The ult tracking on point to deny the res comp from having that sustainability to just out-tank, outlive anything that you can do, and Envy still in control of the space. Also going to be able to have that spam pressure. The off angle from the Phoenix has been cleared onto the low ground. Envy are forced to back on out.
Oh, Cal spitting fire to try and keep everyone at bay. That's a huge Strangling Prison coming through from Window. 4 players caught with him. Nero's fallen down on the other side. And now it's Poly going in towards the back. A nice quick throw right there. Window cut on down in his prime. The Vibranium Energy Saw can make it through a Flora Colossus.
Citadel, they're going to be able to find the point flip off of the back of that one, and they can easily make up the point percentage that they're lacking. They can take these long fights, they can stall it out. Like you said, they can dozy-do and bounce that point, and all the while they can set up Karmic Revival. So for Envy, they're going to have to keep a track of where this Adam is going to be. As Kalush is coming on through with Psionic Seduction to open up this fight, and Speedery can come on through with the Omega Hurricane to finish it.
Oh, Cal, do they know? For now, lots of damage there onto Poly. Great peel coming through from Envy. He's going to have to retreat over to some healing. Speedily going to have trouble maybe getting out of here. Oh, Tanuki went too fast. Now Kaluj has seen an opening. One person res given over, but can't give over that live stream to Tanuki to try and heal them back up. Instead, over into the Eternal Bond. Everyone feels nice and healed up. But Envy, they are finding the frags when they need them the most. Speedly's going to be able to chase on down after Poly here, who, despite wanting to stall it out, can't make it happen.
Oh, it's going to have to be a portal. Pokey comes on through on the Doctor Strange now, trying to get Citadel back into the fight. They've got a Supernova if they're able to tap onto that objective. Speedery is going to have that Omega Hurricane. If you're Envy, you don't really want to commit it, as the body block from the portal is just getting absolutely absorbed by that torch pressure.
Feels like Envy, though, they didn't invest too much in trying to hold that one. They knew that after a portal came on through and the opening frag was discovered, that fight was over.
Yeah, they've got the Wombo combo set up now, and they know that Citadel don't have a portal to be able to give themselves a second lease of life if they get full team wiped in this next fight. One good Strangling Prison combined with a Mega Hurricane, and Envy have this round in the bag, and Enzo is not going to have the Meteor M to be able to nab it out.
Yeah, going to be down on healing as well. Just the Mantis and the Cloak and Dagger, not quite all that you would need. That's going to be the Storm moving in towards the back. Kane going to use for Soul Research to give over additional healing here. Multiple players grabbed into one place. Nuke is falling on down to Cal, and the hit scan doing the job that was demanded of him. And now it's a disengage here for Citadel. Berber just allowing Speedly to take all of this space moving forward. Damage boost for everyone that wants it. And the Goddess boost just pounds away as well. Citadel managed to back one off now, using the Eternal Bond to roll forward again. It's now to Poly, the leader, the captain, to try and make something happen. It's not the ideal place for a Groot. It's not the ideal place for Luna. The healing should be more than enough to try and sustain Luna Snow through all of this. Enzo ready to come on down with the Meteor M, dunking it down onto Month. Unbelievable plays. And Kaluj over here with Sonic Seduction. Didn't manage to grab too much. Catches Cal on the disengage. Tanuki wondering if it can try and move in onto it with only 95 HP. It seems to be off the cards. Up to the sky goes the Phoenix. Can't keep this one contested. Simply waits up above to try and cover the exit from the portal, but that's 400 HP is just broken through so quickly in the face of Citadel Gaming. Berber, Cal from downtown gets the business end of Tanuki. Poly in towards the back. Yeah, there's a quick freeze from Nero, but is it going to be enough? It's still overtime, ticking down in favor of Citadel. Pokey moving over onto the Doctor Strange, gets Month, and the remainder of Envy have fallen as well. Overtime starts to tick away, and Citadel take the first map.
Oh my goodness, what a portal play coming on through from Citadel. The fact that they were able to come off of the Adam Warlock, reinstate themselves on that point, come through with the supernova to instantly lay full claim of every single bit of map baited into taking them into Egress path. But at the same time, if you just lost Hell's Heaven, you want that point of recovery, you want that little bit of just window to full recover before it landslides away into an unrecoverable position. If we can have a look and see all of these statistics, I mean, Alex on the Cloak and Dagger doing 37,000 healing in 2 rounds of domination is absolutely insane. Month also matching too, but like the reason why Cloak and Dagger is such a good strategist is the AoE on the primary, right? You've got a lot of utility, you've got an iframe on Cloak's utility kit, but then Dagger's base primary is AoE, so everyone within 12 meters radius is getting all of those heals.
Yeah, here's a quick look at our MVP of Tanuki, one of the younger members of Citadel Gaming. Of course, is here with his parent chaperone here in Guangzhou. First LAN, I do believe. And, well, Tanuki, he played a couple of other hero shooters, doesn't really have much of a competitive history. Used to be a Rocket Raccoon one trick, and then discovered his love for Black Panther and kind of blossomed from there. It really has been a huge come-up story from Tanuki, who previously played for OG alongside Enzo and Alex. They got second in the Marvel Rivals Invitational in EMEA, but it certainly seemed like Virtus Pro were definitely the better team, and very conspicuous by their absence here in Guangzhou.
Yeah, Tanuki played, I think it was one small tournament under Euphoria's EMEA team, and then instantly got scouted and grabbed into OG because they just saw what a prodigy this guy is going to be. And I mean, it's insane to think, like you said, he's as young as he is. He's already so well rehearsed in so many different heroes. We've seen him on that Torch. Envy obviously thought, okay, we can deal with that Human Torch. We've got a lot of options available for ourselves. We've also got things like the Emma available where we can use Psionic Seduction to just try and full shut down that flyer, and it just was not to be, as Tanuki was fully unleashed. And we got to see him really just not all that contested. A lot of the time he had a lot of terrain to be able to play around. Sometimes he was getting a couple of hits coming on through from a Phoenix off angle, but that Phoenix was also being heavily pressured by every single other person on the side of Citadel, because they were like, oh, you're going after Tanuki? Yeah, not anymore, you're not.
It feels like every time Cal showed his face, Entitled was like, what are you doing around here, Phoenix? We're no mutants here. This is the Hydra base. Like, we saw Pokemon down a good amount of auxiliary fire as well, using the Adam primary, which, as a hit scan, you can do a lot, and it also reinforces your live stream, brings down that cooldown by a second for every crit you can hit, and you can farm crits against something like a Groot. So maybe that's somewhere where windows pick over towards the Groot, so maybe try and bait the Wolverine. Did have a double-edged sword of allowing for easier live stream farming.
Yeah, not just that, but they also try to play the Storm. And I mean, there was a little bit of time, right, where players in Marvel Rivals Esports tried to make Storm and Torch a viable combo. Oh, hey, look, it's the Egress Puff. Who could have seen this coming? Definitely not us.
Surprise. Shocked faces, everyone.
Gee, I wonder what we're going to be getting composition-wise on defense. But returning back to that earlier point, right, that was a time where teams tried to make a double flyer meta before we had Iron Man Ultron. And it was Storm and Torch when we had that Firestorm synergy initially released. And it got shut down immediately by Korea, because Korea said, hey, what if we just run Adam Warlock and we instantly snipe all of your flyers because there is zero cover, and we'll alternate fire into primary, and they're just gone in a second. And that is unfortunately something that Envy found themselves at the worst end of a cosmic cluster time and time again on Hell's Heaven.
Yeah, Envy are one of those teams that has prioritized experimenting with new team-ups. We saw early in stage 1 of Ignite that they picked up the Jeff Nadeau.
Yes.
And I think that it kind of took America by storm. They didn't really know what to do against the Jeff Nadeau. Eventually they figured out that...
happy accident.
Eventually they found out that the Punisher, Judge, Jury, Executioner, Final Judgment inside of an invisible woman's invisible boundary was the best way to try and deal with that one, but it took a while experimenting.
I see your, I guess I don't see your Punisher inside an invisible boundary, and I rate you one Eternal Bond, because Cloak and Dagger is definitely the better ultimate to have to be able to babysit those Punishers, as we did see Invisible Woman's stocks fall significantly when teams started figuring out, okay, if we Eternal Bond into a setup invisible boundary, it's static, therefore it can't move out of the way. So we're going to use all of our dashes, and then on the last one we're going to turn, we're going to 180 and we're going to Terror Cape everybody who's in that AoE, and everyone get hit by a vulnerability. Turns out 165 healing per second against 28% increased vulnerability from all sources of damage when 6 players coordinate and look at one specific target. Yeah, that doesn't last very long.
And we're taking a little bit of damage from the Eternal Bond as well. It's a bonus. Yeah, we have seen a variety of Cloak and Dagger after essentially 0 game time in like the Season 0 through Season 1 space. Even a bit of Season 2, it seems like Season 2.5 was really when Cloak and Dagger came to the fore. We'll be able to get into our bans soon. And the question is here, are we going to see Citadel prioritize trying to take out some of these Vanguards from that special source composition?
Do they take a page out of Rad's playbook and hyper specifically focus down one role, that being the Vanguards? And no, it's actually going to be starting off yet again. Citadel removing the Mantis from play, therefore gutting both the res comp and the Ultron composition. And I think that's actually really smart from them, because Envy have loved putting Spiri on that Ultron, on Egress in particular.
Yeah, Spidley is fantastic on any flyer, and when you put the hit scan tool in his hand as well, it gets even worse. Loki is a good one to take away here as well. Feels like there's a lot of great setup spots for Loki on Egress on buff, as well as there being room on the objective to set up those Loki clones so they can be pseudo-mobile.
Well, Envy are going to be taking Ken's Loki out of the pool, as well as receiving themselves one-sided Luna. There's the Human Torch fan. Yeah, they are going after Johnny Storm with the water hose on that one, and the Cloak and Dagger is going to come on through from Citadel as well, to make sure that they keep a good strategist line rather than going for the Psylocke protection.
Yeah, likely going to see a last Cloak and Dagger protect here as well to allow for Nero and Month to stick as that 2-person wrecking crew in the back. Not need to move over towards a tertiary strategist. And the last ban here, the Doctor Strange should be good. Kloj is so good at Doctor Strange. He gets so much value out of Agamotto, and it messes with the portal recontest.
Yes, that's the thing. Whenever Envy started losing momentum on their spawn holds, they would have whoever went down swap to the Strange portal back, and instantly all of that momentum would come right back onto that side. And as a result, even if they lost like 1 or 2 players, they were still able to hold for 3 minutes almost every single time they played the Yggdrasil defense. So like you said, removing the Doctor Strange does go after one of those Vanguards, but also really neuters Envy's ability to regroup and stabilize, as opposed to Citadel, who, when they're on the attack, their spawn is right behind them. If one person goes down, that trade is infinitely more valuable for them than it is for the defense.
Yeah, it's definitely an uneven attrition gradient when you're in that spawn hold scenario. But Envy have just been so good at backing each other up and making sure that it's so hard for someone to be lost in all of this. Sometimes group can be a great way to intercede between the safe locations of those strategists and where the Vanguards are playing to try and keep that point contested.
Block the line of sight on the heal. Yeah, we potentially get to see Emma Aegis as well doing that same purpose, where you see where the backline are trying to safely position themselves around the corner so they avoid incoming poke damage. And we're going to have a look, and well, we'll have to wait and see for Envy's spawn hold, as they're going to be on the attack this round, and Spiri is going to be on that Storm double flyer composition once again with Winter on the crew.
Well, Poke is already down. Seems like Window well and truly knew the value of the Groot in breaking these spawn holds. Enzo's going to move forward to just try and fall down on the car instead of falling as they disengage. The rest of Citadel, they do seem to continue committing to this fight, and Cal's been doing a good job on the Phoenix here, just slowly whistling down everyone with those explosions of the sparks.
Yeah, Storm and Phoenix, very much a lot of mobility when it comes to taking those off angles of verticality, and you also have the one-sided damage boost, so you get that tempo attrition push against Citadel. However, Citadel have a Doctor Strange access, which means that they have a portal to instantly regroup and teleport before Envy can break around that problematic first corner.
I think that the Wolverine stayed behind the portal to not be seen just yet. Maybe trying to get a surprise. Oh no, there he is. He's been seen. Tanuki almost instantly gets grabbed as well. Enzo gets whacked into the wall. And Spidley just continues to lay down so much fire here. Managing to avoid having the shield broken, putting it down just before the impact of a Phoenix. Invisible boundary is raised up as well here by Citadel Gaming. Burr. And then they're just going to be able to cleanly disengage here. They don't put in too much, but Month, I believe, gets grabbed by Tanuki with that feral leap. Now you've got to deal, however, with the Omega Hurricane in the back. Forces out the Eternal Bond. For Envy, they're fairly happy with this one already. They've forced out all the resources they need to.
Yeah, and they've still held on to their ultimates. Other than that Omega Hurricane, they went for a pretty dry fight. So they've got both the Cloak and Dagger's Eternal Bond and the Luna's Fate of Both Worlds to amp up any damage output coming on through when people get CC'd by either Emma or Groot. And now that the Storm has been able to break out of the Storm doors, we're going to be seeing Speedily go on to that Psylocke to take off-angle flank instead.
Oh, backline here, getting healed up. Polly was trying to make something happen towards the back. And that's going to be 2 players falling down already from the side of Citadel. Envy are absolutely popping off. They crafted this fight so well. They knew exactly what they needed, and they didn't overspend either.
Yeah, and I mean, they just went for an Eternal Bond to instantly remove any space from Citadel, get that Psylocke into the back room so that there was no reposition, no stabilized angle coming on through, and just 3 people on that convoy. They already know that they've dealt with the portal recontest. It's just going to have to be Citadel walking through a choke alone.
Yeah, against walls as well. Polly's going to have to do it alone. Has the freedom charge them up, try and make it work in towards the back now, knowing that someone else is onto a point in this case. Nero falls down before they can use their ultimate. Oh, and that's going to be a double stun as well. Coming through from the side of Doctor Strange, only 1 minute remains. Nero, a critical mistake. The fate of both worlds hung in the balance, and Nero sat there twiddling his thumbs. Yet another feral leap.
Oh,
They're
the
staggering Kaluj. Grabs him with the diamond form. The carbon crush is good, and that's even more time burned.
I tell you what, that's a little bit of medicine for Envy's
It
stagger against the Magneto yesterday in Celestial Husk. And that is really unfortunate for Envy because now they have the better ultimate economy, but they don't have the space to be able to use them on the objective. They got to break around that first corner. So Citadel posture up more aggressively forward, forcing Envy to part with an ultimate on walk up rather than on the objective fight, which they can simply just disengage.
Speedily has made a move here over to Psylocke as well. Has the Dance of the Butterflies ready to go. Cal's already fallen down. Pokey gets them with a Dark Maelstrom. Dark Energy racks the veins of Phoenix. And even the Phoenix Force can't expunge that one. His mother in the back has already gone down. Nero forced the fate of both worlds, believing it still to be winnable. And Window feels the same way, but the invisible boundary is drawn up around the strangling prison. It's a prison break here. And Alcatraz is broken forth from by Citadel. Envy, with only 12 seconds remaining, going to have to make a mad dash towards the point. I think it's going to be Cal and Speedily who have to do it.
I mean, they've got to get it through an Eternal Bond.
The
psionic seduction from Citadel, they're denying the touch. Speedily's the only one, but the Psylocke can't use the ultimate because you don't count as contested. It's the Venom that has to come through from Window instead. He's on the point, the Psylocke goes out, but there's not enough damage. Citadel's players are too squad.
And last stand ready to go. Down lands for Phoenix. Kalush trying to make it work with a Sonic Seduction in towards the back. Month and Nero already down. The healing's all gone for Envy. They're doing this with whatever HP they've got. And you know that Polly carves on through. The Sentinel strikes true. And Citadel hold on first.
That was an absolute heist of Egress.
That was a heist.
Wasn't a jailbreak. That was an absolute heist. Oh my goodness, someone called 999. There has been a crime.
There have been multiple crimes.
Envy are going to be kicking themselves.
They really
That's the worst part. This is that comfort map. This is the map that they decided to take us to. They were going into a composition that they themselves run, which they showed they knew how to break the easiest with the Storm composition, and they made mistakes like holding onto the ultimates as long as they did.
Yeah, greeting it.
And this might be a BO5, but that greed and that tilt is going to carry into the next map if you're not careful.
Like, this is what Citadel were talking about. Their best chance against Envy is to win early, put them on tilt, get them blaming each other in comms. And, I mean, Nero held that ult.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to single out one player, but Nero being allowed to fall in that scenario is... It threw away that entire attack where they had all of the positioning. Polly had to break through, use a freedom charge just to touch
to get through. There were Groot walls on both sides of the choke. There were players on both sides of the convoy.
It was donezo.
It was literally first in the bag, and Citadel just took a pair of scissors and cut the bottom out of that sack.
Well, the sack has been slashed, but the question is, will Envy be able to hold up close here and do an even better job than Citadel?
I mean, this is where Envy have their strong suit. Can they get past, though, the frustration of that last round? Good blind already comes out from Citadel, too, and it's distracting the fact that Polly's already in the back line. Citadel are just spreading the attention away.
Yeah, double CC right there. Feral leaped in towards the back, and then it's going to be the Carbon Crush to keep Kaluja in place, make sure he can't activate the damage reduction of that either. And now Pokey just dodges on away, keeping this paranoia in the Envy backline. Window's fallen down as well. They're too busy healing each other. A bit of patty cake being played, but the Vanguard line was mulched in the meantime.
Oh my goodness, Citadel, instead of fighting into the triple Vanguard, triple strategist in a brawl situation, they slowly draw resources away into all of these different areas, and now we're on a final fight territory. Envy, if they're not careful, aren't going to clear the Wolverine, and someone, even if they clear him, is getting grabbed and deposited into the entirety of Citadel's team.
Okay, missed Feral leap right there. That's a chance for Envy to move on forward. The Carbon Crush, I believe that was some missed usage, but it has at least kept Tanuki at bay. And now the cart is right on the precipice of this. A player's almost fallen down. Enzo forces out the use of the invisible boundary, but they're moving further away. Someone is to go in and touch! Envy! Oh, they're on mind control. They were dragged into the air by Tanuki, and they were slammed down to terra firma. They were grabbed, an avenging Icarus that reached for the sun, but they flew too high.
Oh my Citadel, they broke Envy's hold. This is what we talked about. Predictability.
Yeah.
Predictability is a problem because they came into that map with a plan. The fact that they were able to just send Tanuki into the front line to keep two of the other Vanguards entirely looking at him, while at the same time you've got a Psylocke and a Captain America diverting resources of the backline and another Vanguard to have to then peel those two players so that the Wolverine's damage sticks. They find the pick. There's no Strange to be able to teleport everybody from Envy back into the game so you can try and refresh your numbers a little bit faster. And then, because it's been so one-sided, backline haven't been able to heal anyone. They haven't been seeing anyone within LOS taking damage because they've been zoned off the fight entirely, so they don't have a strategist ultimate to just blitz through, choke, and play onto the point. And they don't have a Vanguard ultimate, and they don't have a Duelist ultimate, so they don't have CC immunity, and they can't get themselves out of the Amazonic Seduction, and it's just done.
Yeah, I saw a great boxing as well when Polly was in that small room with all the strategists. Enzo actually threw the Aegis from downtown while he was still CCing Kalush to try and just keep them. They have to either exit the room to heal the Vanguards, where they're going to get themselves into the LOS of someone else to poke them, or they were going to have to deal with Polly and Pokey. And like you said, Mox, predictability. You know everything, but if I know what's going to happen, then Salah definitely knows.
Yeah, I mean, they've been scouting this for a while. We've seen a lot of these teams, like, they've actually even been watching Sentinels were watching a lot of Rad's games yesterday,
actually,
as well as Nova, and they were right next to me. I had my notebook, they had their notebook, and we were like, oh, this is really
no
fun.
buddies, no friend.
But, I mean, if you're Envy, you've got to just take the downtime between the next map. Your coach has to come in clutch right now. Like, you have to just decompress, ignore the fact that that map happened.
Yeah.
You've just got to play it like this is you going into second map. Egress above. Nah, we didn't play that at all. We're going to have some Mind Stone shenanigans round about here because that's definitely one that Envy wish they could forget.
Yeah, this is where Gator's really going to earn that paycheck. Gator's turn to refocus all of these players with big personalities and make sure that any clashes are worked out before we get back into the lobby. It's going to be a huge job, but one that Gator's more than capable of. He has so much expertise in these high-pressure situations, and many of the Envy players do. So, despite it being match point to Citadel, this is far from over.
Yeah, and I mean, they are going to be forced, though, to take us to a convergence, which is going to be a little bit rough. Do you want to go Call of Dejalia, which is dive? Didn't
go great against Rad. They didn't win it, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It's also very, very strong for res comp. It's also very, very strong for flying.
Good for
composition.
Psylocke.
Very, very good for Captain America and Psylocke, too. So I think for Envy, we're going to have to see something change about the bans. It really has to be. Maybe it's going to be an Insta Captain America target ban coming on through, because like we had so many opportunities for them to be able to play that. And it must be so frustrating too, because they were 2% away from Rage of Ultron.
Yeah.
When that Psionic Seduction came on through, and that would have provided you all of the CC immunity so that you would still be able to keep your players up, you wouldn't get enchanted by that Emma ultimate, and it's just, that's the kicker, right? They were so close to being able to pull that fight back, and they just didn't get the opportunity to even take it because Citadel was so dominant in the first part of it.
Yeah, well, let's talk alternate universe as well. This is where credit to Salah comes through. You don't ban that Doctor Strange. Kaluj falls down first almost instantly.
Teleports back.
Yeah, swaps to Doctor Strange, comes on back, you get another instant fight, and then you get probably an entire cycle of strategist ultimates to try and survive.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we talked about, right? Taking the Doctor Strange away. Not only do you take the Doctor Strange away for the Puerto Rican test, it's also a sense of comfort. Like, there was probably a voice in the back of their head saying, like, oh, if we lose a player early, we don't have Strange Portal to get them back.
Yeah.
We've got to take a 5-5 versus 6, so we didn't really see them hold the spaces as confidently and aggressively as they wanted to, because they didn't really try and clear the Psylocke or the Captain America, right? They sort of just let them walk in and reacted when they showed up in the backline.
I mean, worrisome as well here is that Citadel have now done this with essentially 2 different looks from Tanuki.
Yes.
Both the Human Torch and the Wolverine have proven fatal to Envy, and you can't afford to spend bans on both of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Citadel, one of their strong suits, is. It's not just the momentum, it's not just the scouting, it's also the flexibility. Because if you try and ban out Pokey and Polly, thinking that those two are the problem, Tanuki rears his head and says, hi, and then if you go after them, Ken's like, oh, you didn't insta-ban my Loki? Well, we're now gonna save that. So you see how the problems just keep stacking up and keep stacking up and keep stacking up, because they're so good at so many different heroes, and all those different heroes have entirely different solutions that you then have to have open as options to swap to in your own draft.
Double Tanuki MVPs as well. I think I saw on the previous screen, Month had like 7k healing.
Yeah.
Something went very wrong right there. That's going to be one for VOD review. I was like, that seems a little bit low for a Cloak and Dagger. I don't know. Let's focus in on the positives of Tanuki. There were a lot of assists here as well by grabbing people into those less than desirable locations. We saw that with Kaluj right at the start, being grabbed on the hammer. With a chain seizing as well from Enzo.
Yes.
These are well-drilled plays, and you can tell those are well-drilled to deal with exactly what Envy we're going to bring.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of times too where Month actually got a diamond form grabbed, carbon crushed by the Emma, and then it fed into a whole chain of like Cloak and Dagger's Terror Cape, and they were able to just take him out before that ultimate came through, where again you can see that target focus and priority coming out that we did in Hell's Heaven, where they identify from Envy's side who's going to be coming in with those ultimates that's going to elongate the fight and potentially leave a window open for the team to come back into, and they just slam it shut.
3 Vanguards, and I played Wolverine to counter it. Why didn't anyone else think of that? Oh, weird.
Yeah, this one's going to be a VOD review for sure, not just for Envy, but for every team that might potentially come up against them. And I think that's the worry for Envy. Egress path has always been comfort. It's always meant safety, it's always meant recovery. They've never really looked mortal on it until now, as we can see Envy
that's quite the PogChamp from Enzo.
that he breaks the camera. Oh, but that is the danger, right? Now the secret has been given away. That's how you break the spawn hold, not just for you at home in your own games, but also to every other team competing in this. And if Envy do fall here and go down to the lower bracket, they're going to be facing another team.
Yes.
And that team is going to have access to that VOD, and they're like, oh, okay, so if we go up against Envy on Egress path, that's the composition, that's the strategy, that's the angle, and that's the engagement line we'll take.
Yes. All we need is for Nero to have a little brain fart as well. Also helps.
Yes.
My Q key didn't work. You know, the players bring their peripherals from home. Maybe my Q key it's a little bit sticky. It's got a bad action on it.
It's maybe like, oh yeah, like Loki, double hit confirm.
Yeah, but I've got to check with both worlds before I decide on my fate, you know?
There are many realities. We didn't have a Doctor Strange. We couldn't look through any of them.
We just guessed. We didn't guess right in this case. However, where are we going to go next? Convergence. Our options are what? Symbiotic Surface, Hall of Jalia,
Hall of Jalia, and Central Park would be the 3. And
maybe Symbiotic Surface?
Maybe Symbiote. I feel like Captain
Central
and
Park's probably better for
Psylocke
flyers.
Yeah, Central Park is much better for flyers. But if you go Symbiotic Surface, you also have to worry about the Psylocke flanks coming on through. And I mean, Polly and Pokey have had access to every single resource that they've really wanted to. The fact that they got Polly and Pokey with the Emma on Egress as well, too.
That's,
so we got double up Psylocke, the concussion glasses coming on out.
Yeah, getting Emma, Cap, and Psylocke is like so
Yeah, the original heist. There was a heist inside a heist, and that was the band
Heistception. They have gone for Central Park. Yeah, this makes sense. It's going to be where Speedler's going to be able to really dominate as Flyer Prime.
Yeah, for sure. Whether, you know, it's the Human Torch, which is likely not going to make it through in the pick bans, could potentially be that Storm, could also be that Ultron composition that they've been trying to run. The problem for them is that they keep getting banned out of Mantis, so that Ultron composition is a little bit weaker than it usually is, because, I mean, Rage of Ultron, not the greatest strategist ultimate. The best thing about that as a strategist ultimate is just how fast it builds.
Yeah.
Because Ultron came out a little bit later than some of our other strategists, so he didn't go through the hazing that was, oh, wait a minute, strategist ultimates are building incredibly quickly. Cloak and Dagger can get theirs in about 7 seconds, so let's up the energy rate in terms of that particular one. Ultron managed to slide on through. He had a whole pass when it came to how quickly his ultimate builds. So Rage of Ultron traditionally is the first ultimate on the field. Something is dreadfully wrong if it's not, but you kind of have to make up for the lack of healing by doubling it up. You either use it first to start a fight to force an ultimate from the enemy team so you can have a better ultimate economy as the round goes on. You have 3 strategist ultimates, so that 2. Or you pair it with a Mantis ultimate and you just all in run at them in a death ball.
Yeah, because Mantis ultimate, not just healing damage, it's a speed boost as well.
Yes.
Underrated utility by many players, but Speedler has shown just what it can do with a Storm as well. Having that ability to freely speed boost your team has been just so imperative for being able to choose how to take an engagement and maybe bait some resources out of an enemy team when they don't really get value.
Yeah, I mean, speed's always been a very undervalued tool. Actually, it was Rad who did a very good interview yesterday where Fate was saying that Jeff is undervalued as a hero, and he has speed bubbles. We get to see them whenever we play Domination because every single team min-maxes to use those Jeff bubbles as they come out from spawn. But definitely having a one-sided tempo play to just walk on the enemy before they're expecting it can be absolutely invaluable, not just because all of a sudden you're on top of them. You're also a lot of the time actually cutting off coordination to a team, because just as we're talking to each other, you then amplify that by having 6 players all in one VC, all trying to communicate, alt track, scout, and figure out your game plan. And halfway through those comms, if suddenly one person is just getting jumped by 3 people because a Jeff hit a bubble, then everything can fall apart very rapidly.
I know my monologues suffer when you punch me in the face, Mox. I'm sure it's the same for these teams. Let's get into our bans here. Match point for Citadel Gaming Berber, and we're probably going to start with the Mantis again.
Oh, well.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Never again. Never again.
Okay, there we go. Now the Captain America is gone. I wondered whether or not we would see Envy try and go for some more forms of CC, or if they would just take it off the table entirely. But that does now open the field for Citadel to go for something like a low-key save. And as we've talked about, Ken's low-key is very, very scary indeed.
Yeah. The low-key from Ken could be everything. Taking away the Lunar Snow as well.
Yeah.
That Nero's been able to pop off on. Okay.
Luna save.
An uneven lunar gradient. This can be a big change in the midst of a fight.
They're forcing Envy to have to burn another ban of Psylocke. Emma's still in, Psylocke's still in, Luna save. If you went for a low-key save, like, you would maybe have to worry about things like the Punisher, where he just sits in the regeneration domain with Final Judgment. But with the Luna in, you now have to worry about things like a Star-Lord, a Psylocke, a Panther, a Wolverine. And that's going to really force Envy's hand when it comes to this last ban.
Oh, yeah, they're taking away Cloak and Dagger as well. Oh, is this going to mean that the last save has to be Ultron?
Oh, well, the ban from Envy is going to be Ultron, but do they go one-sided Ultron now?
We'll have to see. If not, I'm sure it'll get banned away by Citadel Gaming. Maybe they'd force something like an Invisible Woman Loki?
Oh, true. Invis boundary is... Yeah, it's an Invisible boundary save. Okay, they've got Human Torch.
Yeah.
So if Citadel had access to a ban now, they would actually have gone for Sue so that they got one-sided Invisible Woman team up with the Human Torch. Now they're going to go for the next best option to remove, which is the Ultron, so you don't get the drone pocket coming on through one-sidedly against the Human Torch, because it is going to be a dogfight up in the sky. However, we've got one-sided Luna, one-sided Invis, 35% heal trickle coming on through from Idle Aura on one side, Envy with the team up and Guardian Shield to pocket their torch on the other. Who's going to be able to take it? That duel is going to determine 95% of this map.
Yeah, I mean, certainly is going to be a lot of resources being poured into these Human Torches, and of course Speedly Flyer Prime.
Yes.
But Tanuki got the last 2 MVPs in a row and has been playing lights out in this series so far. So there's going to be mounds and mounds of confidence to try and sit upon. Still, the changed up draft here. We talked about how Gator had a big job on his hands in a 2-0 scenario to recenter the team and figure out how they can play against what has been brought to the table by Citadel.
I mean, Speedily best hero is probably the Human Torch.
Yes.
He does look absolutely insane on Johnny, as we're going to have to wait and see who's going to be able to come out on top. There's more on the line for Envy in this map, as it being a BO5. If they lose this one, they're down to the lower bracket immediately, as Envy are going to be on the attack, Citadel on the defense, starting off with Pokey yet again on that Psylocke. This time, though, without the Captain America, but still problems for Flyers to deal with nevertheless.
Couple problems, and of course it's going to be an uneven gradient of hit scan here as well, with Caliber to constantly pressure out Tanuki from these more aggressive angles, and that Guardian Shield is really going to be so important as we see how Nero and Ken invest it.
Yeah, I mean, Guardian Shield, you can't crit shot it, so it is going to be sticking around for a while, as we can see Tanuki taking a little bit too many stacks of Spark, as Pokey is going to just be waiting, posting around that corner. They haven't cleared him, but one good hit from that torch, and they're going to instantly know where the Psylocke's playing from.
Okay, Speedily going to be the primary target. Out come the Sonic Illusions, courtesy of Emma. Seems like there's not going to be much of a delivery right there. Both Tanuki and Pokey in concert couldn't get rid of Speedily. Pops out their own team up from the Invisible Woman, and that's going to be the focused fire on Tanuki. Can hot drop too far away. The bird's not quite delivered, but Speedily's not going to be in too much danger here as they float above the door. Free as a bird. Pokey's gone down as well. Envy, they found their execution, and they've done it well to get rid of so many members of Citadel and claim precedence over the point. Moving forward now with the Invisible Boundary. Have to be careful about that Sonic Seduction as well. Speed's not going to be grabbing too much off the back of this one. Coming back with the Doctor Strange portal. Cal overwhelmed. The Spark's no longer going to be building up, but Kaluja's building plenty here. Down comes the Meteor M in towards the back. The Guardian Shield absorbs most of the damage. Kaluja inside the Invisible Boundary can stay here for absolutely yonks. He's got healing for days, but it's Alex rolling forward now with the fate of both worlds. Ken's fallen down in the back, too far away from the AoE that was projected out from the Lunar Snow, and now Speedily times out the Luna, knowing that she cannot escape from a flame tornado. A peak is not on the cards. Enzo's going to be flame broiled from above, and as we move closer towards a cap here from Envy, Citadel Gaming are forced to just roll on through, taking down Monk first and Polly next afterwards. Window doing their best to try and keep this one surviving. Phoenix can't get too much, and Ratatoska has been freed.
Ooh, there we go. Envy finally able to break on through. Speedily, really good Human Torch, like you said, timing perfectly that Lunar ultimate to catch as those 12 seconds evaporate. Luna being able to get split by the Supernova away from that Magneto, stopping Citadel from fully regrouping. However, Envy haven't been able to get all of the space that they're wanting. They're still having to respect around this first corner, as you can see Speedily. If he goes a little bit too far forward, he's going to be having to duel out Tanuki, who has a lot of natural cover to be able to play around with.
Pyro Prison is erected, and Enzo forced to use their Psionic Duplicate here to try and reduce some of this aggro. Still 6 players going all in onto Enzo. The healing's not quite enough. Everyone else was forced to disengage. That must have been the handiwork of Speedily.
Envy have the better ultimate economy, and Citadel know this too. If they can't prolong that poke phase, they don't have the ultimates to match, and they just have to disengage, which means more convoy space. Envy now going to be keeping Citadel all shuffled up inside one small room, which means that Tanuki is forced to burn the Supernova just to break through.
Supernova rolling forward. Phoenix hits the ground, and now Enzo's already been too far out. Tanuki going to try and turn this one around, so close to the cap, and indeed it is completed here. Citadel Gaming Berber, they invested, but they weren't on the point. Without their trusty Captain America, their objective roulette has come up 0.
Now, with the Human Torch in play, Envy are on absolute fire. This is an entirely different team, as they have so much ult potential. The snowball is unreal, as Citadel don't have a good opportunity right now. They've got that Lunar ultimate, Fate of both worlds to come on through, but they're going to have to hold for Pokey's ultimate to be ready before they can have the damage boost to have a potential and just pick one of these players from Envy off. In comes that Venom dive into the backline, trying to force out those Loki regen domains, but Enzo might have been enough more than he can chew, and he gets grabbed back before he can get out.
The perfect pull from Nero. A redemption story for sure. Just dodging away right now is Tanuki. Sonic Seduction not going to be able to grab any members. The Feminine Wiles of Emma resisted for about a moment longer as Speedily lets the Flame Tornadoes burn on out.
Tanuki is just going to be wrapping around, trying to find a good off angle, potentially put some pressure onto that other torch, but he gets scouted and immediately picked with Cal helping in the tag team. It's up to the Venom just to try and hold, stall Envy's approach, but he's taking so much damage and it forces Alex's hand. Alex and Pokey have to combine ultimates, but can they find anything for Monks?
Polly nice and close, trying to take out the Luna. Monk does indeed fall. Kalu's going to be exactly the same as Polly and Pokey. Once again, the dynamic duo combines, but it's Enzo who finds the final hits. The dark depredations of the symbiotic tentacles finally strike true, and Envy, for the first time, find themselves halted.
We've seen stranger things than a 3-minute hold on third of Central Park, especially if you have flying components in your composition. If you're playing flyers into a retake and you don't have those natural terrains to be able to hide yourselves around, you're going to be taking a lot of poke damage as you enter into that fight, as we can see Pokey and Tanuki on an absolutely lethal crossfire right now.
Yeah, this is where things get difficult, trying to move in controlled territory where you have a Pyro Prison and the Phoenix taxing your approach. Kalu's still building up towards that high energy very quickly. Speedly, what a flank here. Moves in with the hot drop. Good evasion here. Great jump away from the invisible woman to stop all of this coming through.
Envy have been able to close up the distance too with the flank. The torch got spotted, but it forced the attention, and they've now been able to approach the objective with invisible boundary in hand. Tanuki loses the duel. Psionic seduction from Kaluj. Envy think they can win this here and now.
Oh, full focus onto Pokey. Nice use of Aegis there to block off the healing. Great awareness. And that's going to be Cal finding final hit after final hit. A Carbon Crush to absolutely decimate Enzo. And now for the remainder of Citadel, they don't have the meat to move on forward. Spilly's just flash cooking them as they move through. The invisible boundaries are layered on top of each other. It's a Venn diagram of destruction, as Window is going to be the final metal clanging note. And a twisted metal salad is all that remains of a Citadel Gaming defense.
Yeah, Window is the master of magnetism that round. Partly because he gets the Meteor M pick, and also because he gets to use his ultimate to absorb Tanuki's. A huge chunk of that supernova damage gets immediately absorbed by the meatball, and that is going to be Envy full pushing. It was a little bit worrying, concerning when they faltered on that third part of the point for the first time, but they were able to recover, just having the better ultimate economy, and also Speedly doing a very good job of understanding. If he just tried to play up in main, he would get shredded down instantly. So just go the long way around. It takes about 10 seconds extra, but that's time that you save by not getting picked out of the fight early.
Yeah. And it seemed like Cal had great timing there as well. They isolated Tanuki in that off-angle position, and they kind of just, they pinned him using some suppressing fire until Cal had the angle needed, and they went all in and instantly decimated him. Didn't have time to hot drop out of there.
Yeah, it was like dive, which is actually really funny because a lot of players say that Human Torch is kind of a dive hero. He can be dive, he can be spam, he can be poke. He can pretty much do it all, and that's another reason why he's so dangerous as a hero, right? All of the different playstyles, you never know which playstyle against the Human Torch you're going to be playing until you're on the wrong side of it.
You find out real hard, real quick. Tanuki, is it real?
Oh, well, they're on attack. They can swap it, but it is out of spawn. And it is indeed real. They're going all the way around the back, and it's going to be with Enzo too. They've even got the Luna team up. Frozen Chi to come on through and provide an extra level of sustainability if Alex gets walked on when Envy spot out the numbers disparity.
Okay, in towards the back, using the martial arts as best they can after the Dragon's defense. Plenty of damage to throw out, but that's a lot of resources used just to disengage to safety. Seems like Citadel Gaming's gambit has not paid off here. Envy were more than used to this. Of course, they have played against FlyQuest, so light flashed before their eye.
Yeah, Envy, instead of backing up into a small room, which would have put them at a much worse position against the Venom Tethers, as well as that Iron Fist in close quarters, they just walk around corner, putting pressure onto Citadel's frontline core, and it's going to force Enzo now off of the Venom onto the Hulk, so that we can be a little bit more aggressive and stack with our team to provide bubble resource.
Tanuki getting a little bit low, gets some metallical walks, a little bit of safety net coming on through, still not enough to get past Cal, speedily falling low, and it's Alex from downtown using the frozen arts of Luna so to make it happen. You can see that Enzo now sees an opening, heading right in towards the back, using the Eternal Bond as well. Up comes the invisible boundary, moving in rather close. It's Spicy Meatball versus Spicy Meatball. It's an absolute conflux, a coalescence of phoenixes in the doorway, and yet all stay clinging to the life force and the lights. Now moving forward with the fate of both worlds. The damage boost is too much to bear. Citadel Gaming finally find their opening in the Envy defense. and the recontest might come through from something like a Doctor Strange, but it might well be too far gone.
Oh, potential staggers? No, Tanuki is the
no.
one that actually gets picked. Speedily is so close to that supernova. Cal is indeed going to go for the Doctor Strange, and they are going to be able to portal through in time. Out comes a Groot too, just to be able to wall off some of these players and potentially find an isolation pick. And Paulie gets zoned away from his backline, and what looked like Citadel were taking the point gets turned around immediately.
Unbelievable heads-up play moving in towards the back now. The angriest Hulk that you have ever seen. A Gamma Exile in towards the back, and the living Chi is channeled forth. Nero falls down, Pokey traded out on the other side. Speedily the hero that's needed. Dragon's defense. Oh, a puny god dares to stand before Enzo, and Enzo feels nothing but contempt for such trickery at the hands of Asgard. Yet another Eternal Bond. It's Kaluchu's kicking this time. Kunlun kick works out in the end, and the recontest here from Envy does force out so many resources, but it doesn't retake that point.
True, but it's going to have a domino impact now into their ability to take second. Envy, when they were attacking, had the better ultimate economy, something that Citadel had to bend the knee and respect. Now, as it is Citadel, their best opportunity to get space is just Enzo on the Hulk, with those melee damages, just slamming, punching, shredding through that Doctor Strange shield. But Cal's just going to fall right back to his team, and speedily with the supernova shuts Tanuki's aggression, as the Iron Fist goes up against the Human Torch, but speedily burns bright, and he has enough fire to heat through metal.
Oh my goodness, in comes the Phoenix, maybe a mid-air impact here. Yeah, takes a little bit of HP off of Speedily, but not much more than that. Attempts to try and turn us around with Sonic Seduction here, but it's blocked by their own group walls. Now it's time to move forward with the fate of both worlds. They want to dunk it so badly. Polly searching for value out of a Meteor M, but all it can do is take away the HP of the Groot. Pokey found themselves isolated. Monk gives a quick bit of damaging boost, and Citadel Gaming, they're stymied here by great economic plays from Envy.
Envy are going to be able to get so much time off of the clock too from Citadel. They're pushed so close to that spawn. That's going to be an ultimate force for sure. That's a swap force. There's Tanuki over onto the Wolverine. He's seen the Groot. He knows as well that there's flyers, which means that this Wolverine has many targets, and you can see him already looking airborne. And he's got the fastball special with Enzo on the Hulk too. We're flying Air Logan today. Can Tanuki find anything?
Benefiting from double team-ups, but not able to get too much to begin with. Great evasion coming through from the side of Envy. Speedily hits the deck right here, but still manages to escape. Pokey outplayed by Cal. Cal's popping off. Oh, the hit scan Prodigy is finally once again delivering on the promise of the Prince. A quick grab there on to the side of the group, but Tanuki can't quite deliver the damage that's needed in mid-air. Enzo strikes with fists of rage, and Gamma pumps through the veins of the Human Torch. The car do be moving, but Tanuki is already gone.
But he's got the last stand. Nero does have that invisible boundary, but he has to be vigilant about the Wolverine's respawn timer. Enzo wants to keep the fight going. They force the invis boundary. The Hulk is out in monster form, and he's immediately shredded down because of the good carbon crush from Kaluj.
Unbelievable turn and burn there coming through from Envy. The target focus we expect from players of this caliber. Cal has been lights out in this game so far. Bro is not missing. Spark upon fire upon fire.
Month is about to have another God of Mischief too. Window with Strangling Prison can combine either with Cal or Speedily. Envy have so many options. For Citadel, just one. Tanuki has to come on through with a hero last stand.
Heroics on the menu here, but can Citadel Gaming find them? Cal forced to dodge away for now. Supernova from the top. Enzo's cooking a grab. Question is, can they get the angle that they need? Speedily is constantly aware of what's coming through here. Was that a cancel? No, instead just a regular carbon crush onto Tanuki, and he's going to have the ultimate suppressed as well. Moving on through, Pokey does their best to try and get away. Alex doesn't get too much off the back of this, and now with the ultimate gone, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy for the Groot to deliver the damage. Yeah, Enzo takes down Speedily, but at this point it's just a consolation prize for Citadel Gaming.
What a combo from Window and Kaluj. Groot and Emma, not two ultimates you typically see, but chained together so much crowd control. And Citadel just don't have the strategist ultimates to be able to live through it. It's got to be a portal play. Enzo sacrifices the fastball to give his team a fast entrance into this fight. Keep your eye on Tanuki. It's going to come down to the last stand because the Citadel's last chance.
Tanuki Only 30% rage already, has the passive burned. This is bad news bears for the remainder of Citadel, and Cal still ready to try and move in with a Phoenix if need be. Misses on the first feral leap, dodges away elsewhere. No one's on the point. Envy, unbelievable defense. They are absolutely ironclad, and Gator has managed to find the secret sauce in the break.
Gator has been able to turn the team's morale up.
Yes.
I mean, if they had still been playing in their heads, like a little bit hesitant, a little bit cowed when it came to Egress, then we wouldn't have seen a Central Park like that, because they played aggressive, they played in your face, they played to meet the rotations. They didn't let Citadel dictate the terms of every single fight. They were like, okay, we're going to play in the spaces that we want to. If you're going to be taking long wraparound rotations, we're going to counter-rotate, which is exactly how you deal with dive.
Yeah, it's pretty much in the tutorial. And you know what? Now the question is, how does Salah respond to this? Do we have the first ban Human Torch? Because, like, Speedly's kind of a menace right now. Yeah. And you can try and ban the Phoenix from Cal, but it has a good analog in Hella to still be able to take those off angles and really deliver the pain. So maybe you got to focus in on Speedly here and once again ban away that Torch.
Yeah, I would, you know, look at how the rest of the maps went, right? When we had that Human Torch ban, it looked a lot less close than it did. However, you can say the same about the Captain America ban coming on through from the side of Envy, because they also looked much cleaner when they didn't have a Captain America constantly, as we talked about, disrupting. They were able to sit and think and come up with their own game plans. If they'd had a Captain America in their backline, that first fight where we got to see the Iron Fist and the Venom wrap all the way around full right side back of Point Central Park and try and just pinch in as the rest of the team walked through from main, that would have gone incredibly differently if they hadn't had the opportunity to go like, okay, this is the composition, this is the attack, this is where they're going to try and hit us, let's not be in that space when they show up. Yeah,
it allowed for plans laid to be plans executed, and that's kind of everything with Envy. They have a great understanding of how fights work and how they can really manipulate them. We saw that work out incredibly well with their recontest onto A, where they maybe could have tried to clutch that with the ultimates they had. They knew their win condition. They had already full capped. And they'd seen so much get invested by Citadel in an attempt to try and clutch that fight. They're like, okay, yep, we're done, so.
Yeah, we'll let you guys have that point. But that's okay, because we're just going to get better on second. That's the thing. A lot of these teams fail to understand, especially on convergence. Sometimes if you go for a strange TP recontest and you lose that strange TP recontest, it bleeds into the impact that you have on holding second. Right, Symbiotic Surface is actually a very good example of this. If you try and teleport back onto that, as a defensive team, you're going to lose your players staggered out, so you're not going to be able to fully regroup, and then you're not going to be able to hold yourself into a better position. When you're dealing with flyers, having that prior position before the fight begins is elementary. You have to have that, otherwise they just get so much more space. And, you know, contrast the two attacks that we had when Envy had that speedily torch just poking around the corner, having all of the threat in the world, and Citadel just had to tuck their tails behind them and say, yeah, we can't really contest this, we have to keep giving up space. And it meant that all of that time that had been shaved down on first got removed. It got full refreshed back, and so Envy still had a huge sandbox to play with in third, and Citadel, on the other hand, just had no ultimates going into second and could not push that first corner to save themselves.
Oh, what a performance there from Speedly. 25k damage, and you know, Cal was able to rack up so many final hits as well. Really felt like Cal floated into the server for this one and put up some crazy numbers on the Phoenix. On the other side, Pokey leaving a little bit to be desired on the Phoenix. We don't know Pokey for the Phoenix so much. We know that he's a fantastic Hella player, fantastic Psylocke. Maybe he hasn't had as much time, maybe a couple fewer reps on the Phoenix.
Yeah, and I mean, something to point out as well is that Speedily on that Human Torch does a lot of damage, but that's just Human Torch in general, right? You're going to have low accuracy, but huge chunks of damage because of the spam pressure that you're going to have 24/7. However, 15 final hits goes to show that a lot of that damage was actually directed into getting a pick. So it's not what we call meaningless damage, which is actually not meaningless, it's worse. It's damage that your opponent is then able to convert into ultimate charge for their backline. So if you're not able to convert all of that spam pressure into actually getting those picks, the other team is always going to have faster ultimate rotations when it comes to strategists.
30 KOs in total here for Speedly. I believe half of them final hits.
Yes.
Very impressive stuff. And with both Speedly and Cal online, this is when Envy are at their most dangerous. It really feels like this, despite having such a good Vanguard and strategist line, this is a duelist-led team.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Citadel, you just need to sweep speedily off of Torch.
Yeah, get him off that thing.
Storm is much easier to deal with and also much easier to just hit. Right? Something that we have to talk about. There was a little bit of power creep when it came to movement of flyers.
Yes.
Because Human Torch and Ultron, they have this thing where when you move in the sky, you can strafe like one little hit of your AD strafe, and your hitbox changes entirely, as opposed to Storm, where you go like 5 meters on your D key, and your hitbox just remains flat and static, essentially. Whether there's no like condensing of the head, no shoulder dance. There's some very famous clips that went out of Human Torches where they just decided to safety dance for a total of 10 seconds on 5 HP, and they weren't able to get hit a singular time by like a Psylocke or a Punisher.
Yeah, because like Human Torch, he pivots around his ankles, right? So when he AD strafes, there's a lot of body movement. Whereas when you strafe on Storm, it's essentially, I don't know if you're a Photoshop user, but it's like it's Transform X minus 50, you know?
Copy paste, just like hold on with the right click on the mouse and just drag to location.
Yeah, that's her strafe animation. Not quite as invasive.
Yeah, but canonically it makes sense, you know. Yeah. She's being buoyed up by a wind tornado.
And, well, you know what? I think that we're probably going to see that Human Torch ban come first.
Yeah.
We're likely going to see the Captain America versus Human Torch ban here, which maybe is an opening for someone like an uneven Human Torch if you want to protect it for Tanuki, who's not a slouch on the Human Torch, but, I mean, I keep hyping up Speedily. Fly Prime, baby. He's just the best in the world on that.
Yeah, I think if you're Citadel too, like, you're starting to remember potential reverse sweeps that came out from both POVS Pro and Rad, because like Citadel, they're a very good team when they've got momentum in their house, but when momentum is against them, it can get a little bit finicky in terms of being able to get over to that finish line. And I think what's problematic for this team too is that just as Hell's Heaven was a really good starting point for them to break Envy's mental, they now no longer have Hell's Heaven to fall back onto when they get to choose the domination map, because it's already been sent.
Yeah, it's already having Hell's Heaven. Like, they don't have their backstop anymore. Maybe we go to someone like Bin and T'Challa.
Maybe Burnham. Yeah. I feel like it would probably be the better option, although it is a rough one for sure, because it's also very, very strong for flyers.
Yeah, Celestial, how do we feel about flyers on Celestial Husk is the question. Krakoa is kind of middling, I guess?
Celestial Husk has angles, is the thing. Celestial Husk is very, very strong for flyers, very, very strong for multiple angles too. So like, it's going to be good for Envy, but it's also going to be really, really good for Citadel if they're able to just fully coordinate a 3-point dive where you have everyone coming from a different angle at the same time. Because we saw a couple of times, you know, that Enzo, especially on Central Park, he would go in on that Venom, but he would go in alone. And he would just go in, try and force out something like the Loki of the regeneration domain, or potentially just stop Envy's momentum from moving forward so that they're forced to just give up space and allow some breathing room for Citadel where they can figure out what exactly is going to be the turning plan. But he would immediately get nabbed by the force physics from the Invis woman, and he would just go down immediately.
Yeah, I think we reopen our map pool entirely now, right? After we've gone through all three.
Yes, we do. We've had all 3 map types, so we now reopen our map pool entirely.
Midtown's there, Arako's there.
Arako could be...
Arako's good for
Could
Tanuki.
be a very good one for the Black Panther, yes.
I feel like when it comes to like these aggressive defensive holds there, that's where Arako is really strong, and Envy are fantastic at aggressive
Envy are fantastic.
holds.
However, Arako is very, very strong for Black Panther. It's also very, very strong for Wolverine.
True.
And Envy have liked running the Groot a whole lot. We've seen the Groot on 2 maps now, which they've really, like, actually 3, because we got to see it on Central Park too, and we don't traditionally get to see Groot all that much. I'm sure that's going to change when we head into season 3.5, especially with the new team-ups that are going to be coming on through. But as of, you know, the last little bit of the meta, a lot of teams have been saying that Groot is very, very bad unless he's in certain situations and you're looking for wombo combos off of strangling prisons.
Yeah, like, there's a world where Cal can match the Wolverine. Don't know if he's quite as good at Wolverine as Tanuki, but also Cal's so hot on the Phoenix right now.
Yeah.
Like, Cal's coming in with such hot hands, has the momentum. Do you want to pivot Cal off of that hero when he's just doing so much?
And I mean, Phoenix is really, really good too because it's just constant pressure. Off-angle pressure, ability to self-heal too, so you don't need a constant 24/7 line of sight on your backline, which then allows you to get more of those heals diverted onto either your vanguards or your other duelists. And then you also have to remember that the more stacked up players are, the more that Phoenix is going to be able to do. So if you're Citadel and you want to really play as a pack all together and just bunker up, because 3 of your players are split around the map, which means that the other 3 of your players have to play on top of each other, otherwise they're all isolated and just instantly wiped off of the board. When those sparks hit max and those explosions start popping on off, everyone's going to be in that AoE range.
Yeah, especially when you have the Phoenix ultimate available as well. That can really burn through strategist ultimates as well as be boosted by them in the case that maybe Nero gets access to the Luna again if it's not going to be a priority ban, because that was what we saw as the pivot.
Yes. I mean, Luna can be... She is just an immensely strong strategist.
Yeah.
She's insane. The 35% heal trickle where you don't need LOS is really, really good at either enabling one of your duelists who's going to be playing on an off angle, potentially as well you put it on a Vanguard in anticipation of all of that damage coming on through. When we had Punisher as well in terms of meta, having that 35% heal trickle to just push past the other Punisher's breakpoint when it came to the final Judgment duel, it was just insanely strong. And then we also have to remember, Fate of both worlds, like you said, 40% damage boost, which is the strongest damage boost in the entire game.
I guess she needed that.
Hey, look, I'm a Luna, okay? I'm a strategist, man. I'm not complaining. Other people can complain, you know, the people that don't get Snowflake. In fact, actually, you know, when I play with Dustin, do you know what he tells me constantly?
Snowflake me. Yeah, Snowflake. Marks.
Do you know what's really funny too? He says that when he's 3 rooms away from me. I'm like, oh yeah, Dustin, right behind you.
Delivery service. Yeah, I'll skate right over. Meanwhile, me in the front light with the straight shot.
just got, you know, cracking impact coming in from here. We got a Venom Fist of the Abyss slamming in there.
Like that Willem Dafoe gear.
Wait. No.
Our teams are just returning to the chairs. They had a quick break to, you know, go to the potty and stuff. Everyone working it out. I'm sure Salah's giving everyone a quick pep talk right now, figuring out how we're going to go through the bans. I imagine this time Nero's probably going to have access to the Luna, which was the priority last time, but now we remember that, oh yeah, that's what we were banning towards. Oh yeah.
Well, also we just got to see our map pick, which I believe is actually Celestial Husk.
Oh, okay. Celestial Husk. We haven't seen a lot of, well, we haven't cast Celestial Husk yet in between ourselves.
The map was very, very new. Turns out when a map drops after the EMEA region Ignite has finished, you and I don't get the opportunity to cast it until we come here.
Yeah, teams didn't even want to play a Rocco for a while, apart from those who had like a special strat there. Like VP loved the Rocco, Insomnia loved the Rocco.
Nemesis with the Squirrel Girl.
Oh yeah, they did like that Squirrel Girl. Crosshair notwithstanding.
Squirrel Girl is such a unique hero where she has really good strategies on certain maps, which for the most part include Midtown, Araco, and Symbiote Service.
She's got her zones, you know? And sometimes it's okay for a hero to be just good in certain zones.
Yes. Speaking of, we're going to be looking now at all of our wonderful players, and this is going to be really interesting because you can see Citadel's faces, they've changed. They were pretty happy, pretty carefree, and now that we've started going into the woods of a potential 5-mapper, there's a little bit more stress lines on those faces. Yeah,
maybe Cope Take it's locked in now? That might be some weapons grade EU Cope right there. But there is still plenty of legs to this series. Mox, this is the first series we've had here at the mid-season Ignite Finals that's gone back and forth.
Yes, and also it's not a Celestial Husk, it's a Rocco.
Oh, you lied to me, Mox. I can't believe you've done this.
God of mischief, I will admit. But no, I think this is actually a very smart decision coming on through from them, because as we talked about, Tanuki's Panther is very, very strong.
Oh yeah, this checks out.
So both the Psylocke and the Panther is definitely going to be something that you do have to worry about. As there goes the Captain America ban coming on through from the side of Envy, and there it is, the immediate Human Torch ban. So Speedily is not going to be able to have access to one member of the Fantastic Four. But then again, given the fact that he plays a duelist, I don't think we're going to be seeing Mr. Fantastic, so I guess it's all of them.
Damn. Loki gone as well means no double Fate of Both Worlds, but there will be a Fate of Both Worlds on all sides. Instead of 8 worlds, we will be deciding the fate of 4 worlds. Arako not included. Yes, worlds squared.
As we can see, both teams taking the Loki out of play. The damage that you can do with all of your doppelgangers, as well as just regeneration domain, being able to just live through all of those one-shot potentials. Too valuable to leave on the field, as Cloak and Dagger is going to be protected on the side of Envy. Citadel also going to be removing the Mantis, which I think is actually really, really smart, because not only does it go after the Ultron, not only does it go after Rescomp, it also means that if you try and break a spawn hold, you don't have the opportunity of locking in one Vanguard, everyone duelists, and then one Lone Mantis for the damage boost splurge as you come out of spawn gates.
Yeah, good thinking right here. Citadel going to get rid of the Psylocke as well, really trying to once again constrain Speedily's hero pool. Maybe try and force that storm to happen once again.
Yeah, Psylocke has been removed. Citadel get access now to one save before Envy can go for a ban. Oh, it's a good one! Human Torch. Okay, now if you're Envy,
probably
you're kind of
ban
invis.
Cloak and Dagger?
Inviso. It's a tough one. Cloak and Dagger is the better one in all of the other scenarios, but in this isolated incident, it's Tanuki's Wolverine.
Interesting gambit here.
It's going to be the Black Panther then.
I mean, Tanuki is likely going to open up with a Human Torch now.
True, actually, now that they got the Human Torch through.
I don't know if I like the Wolverine ban when clearly Tanuki's mostly going to be playing the Human Torch.
Because if he's going to be on the Human Torch, then he's not going to be on the Wolverine, but maybe Groot.
Yeah, this is an opening for Groot.
Yeah. Remove the Canadian so that the tree can breathe a little bit easier.
He's going to photosynthesize like his life depends on it.
No more lumberjacking.
I love photosynthesis.
No more deforestation. Groot is going to be free. As hopefully to be able to get all the way through to the end of this map if you're Envy. Although I believe they're going to be defending first, so we'll have to wait and see whether or not they can escort it all the way through. As if you're Citadel, some of those options that we talked about have now been shut down. The Panther is still going to be open though, so if the Human Torch does feel like he's getting a little bit too much pressure his way, that is always going to be a potential pivot.
Wondering what Speedily is going to end up on here is the question. The Ultron is still available. So maybe we see a little bit of a 3-3.
Oh, hold on a minute. Tanuki's on Black Panther and Pokey's on the Human Torch.
Oh, this is a new look.
Yeah, Enzo's going to be on the Hulk, so no Wolverine fastball, but there is a lot of spam pressure coming on through, and if you're looking at the Human Torch and the Hulk, you're not looking at the Black Panther. Where's Tanuki going to end up flanking?
It's a real wide angle here from Cal as well. All right, Tanuki, radar marked with Vibranium, heading in towards the back. Another Ren spinning kick as well. Seems like the survivability is going to be there, courtesy of the Ultron drone. Is, of course, one of the classic counters to the Black Panther to play that Ultron. Just play Groot up to allow everyone to get that healing. Big grab onto Kaluj. Oh, the usage of the Terror Cape not quite there in time. Tanuki just too much of a distraction in the back line, using those Vibranium claws to rend his way through. I might not be on Wolverine anymore, but I still got the claws.
Oh, they've done it again. Different map, same mentality. They see triple Vanguard, triple strategist, and they break the attention with a long con flank coming on through from Tanuki, so that everyone looks at the Panther instead of the rest of the team. Now we're going to be seeing the swaps come on through, and we still have access to that Wolverine, and they're also going to have access to Primal Flame, as Cal's going to be on to that Phoenix too.
Missed a nasty spot with a drop down. The Wolverine can definitely exploit window for now. Not feeling too much pressure up in the front line. This is kind of it's a relaxing time for a Groot when you're up against a Human Torch and a Black Panther.
Not for Enzo though. He's up against the Wolverine.
No such luck for them. That's going to be a supernova, bringing up a bunch of burning damage. Speedily takes out Enzo to begin with. Yeah, is that a strangling prison there from window? That was built up bloody quick.
Yeah, and I mean, Pokey went through the supernova, but the target focus from Speedily meant that Enzo wasn't out of the wombo from the strangling prison. They had the wombo, they didn't have the combo. They're also going to be able to get a late pick onto Tanuki too, so Envy will be able to hold and now re-establish themselves. Not too far up though, as they do have to be cognizant of a potential Panther flank all the way through from the left side, with Bast's descent descending into the entire back line.
All right, Nero needs to be quick on the trigger here. When it comes to that fate of both worlds, can't afford to get womboed, can't afford to post a gif on Twitter saying, what do I do against this? A miss on the Carbon Crush could prove fatal, kicks into their own walls for now. Speedily managed to take Enzo off of the cliff. Great play off the back of the Feral Leap right there, even though it's credited over towards the extra damage. And that's going to be silences coming on through. Bash descent does not descend upon Envy. Envy manages to survive through this. Pokey too close to the sun, burned away by the Phoenix. Tanuki gets both of the healers. Unbelievable play for Strategist Sagon. A quick miss there from Speedily. An attempt to try and disengage from the Lunar Snow, overwhelmed by the conflux of damage that was brought forth in onto this. A strangling Prism grabs in two and takes two out as well. Cal now trying to maraud in towards the back line. One warrior up against the world. There is no return to be found for something like a portal that was used previously, I believe.
Pokey's still on the fight too, which is really bad for Envy. They don't have a strategist ultimate to be able to break through these walls either. They don't have the damage. Poly with the diamond form goes aggressively just to hold Envy at base so that Citadel might be able to take that first point. And as Bolt Pokey up the space, Supernova has been accrued and it comes out into the fight immediately. Envy have to try and shut this down. The Eternal Bond's going to be able to keep most of them active. The Strangling Prison catches on the walls, but it's still been able to buy Envy the space to walk forward.
Oh, Enzo, crazy block right there onto Windows Ultimate. Now Envy are going to be under resource to try and fight this one again. Pokey on the off angle doesn't have that much proximity to their ultimate.
It's going to be so close to that Eternal Bond. Citadel have to just bide their time, wait for the Cloak and Dagger to have the sustainability that Envy don't quite have access to. Tanuki in the meantime, just being that pressure, that constant paranoia that Envy have to turn to deal with the Pyro presence for them. A lot of space! Out comes the spear! And unfortunately, Tanuki has already been able to force the Luna!
And there's Kaluj fallen down too far away. LOS blocked. Down comes the Phoenix, and I think actually manages to strike the impact right there. Last stand ready to go for Speedily. Full rage in the back pocket. As they might be able to try and break through this one, but the damage has already been done by the remainder of Citadel. Carving through. Carbon Crush puts Speedily back to bed. A catnap for the Wolverine. And when all is said and done, it seems that this one is going to be going all the way of Citadel. The Freedom charge of Freedom has been locked on up. And well, we know what they say about NA. They're so damn free.
Oh, the prospect of the Panther. Nero didn't want another Yggdrasil Path moment occurring. Goes for the early pull of the fate of both worlds, and Poly just waits. Counts the 12 seconds down into the team and comes on for the Psionic Seduction when Envy don't have the means to sustain through it. Speedily now on that Wolverine with the last stand, just waiting. Tanuki, job done on the Panther. Goes over to the Iron Fist instead. As Citadel try to keep this momentum, they've got the Supernova to back themselves up, but they have to try and find where the Wolverine is first.
Once again, visions of lights here. Tanuki in the back, used for Dragon's defense, gives himself a little bit of extra HP. Speedily moving on forward, has the last stand. What an impact there from Speedily. And Cal's there as the coup de grace on top to burn on through.
What a meet! Speedily comes on through with the last stand directly onto the last dash that Month has set up to catch the Wolverine.
Brutal.
It's a perfect tag team from Envy to just shut the space down, and Pokey knows that torch isn't going to get aerial anytime soon. It's time to bring out the Psylocke instead.
Oh, that's a tilter, man. Enzo was just walking out, just eating Poke the entire time. Shun just nowhere near, didn't have LOS on this one, and Cal's just happy to farm those headshots.
It's the Venom swap. It is the Venom swap now, so that you have those dive targets, but we do have to worry about the Wolverine, about the Amma, even about the blind with the Terror Cape the second that the Venom shows up. Pokey is getting crabbed out, almost goes down. It forces the Eternal Bond.
All right, that's going to be forcing out plenty of healing here from the Lunar Snow as well. Pokey manages to survive through all of this. In towards the back, Kaluj manages to take out Pokey, and Alex has fallen as well, courtesy of a window. Countdown can just float away, free as a bird as 45 seconds remain. The Living Chi is pinned down to the ground. Great catch there by Window and Speedily both.
Oh, the Stagger. They're going to stagger the Venom. It's Citadel's best bet at being able
Nero
to hold on to the objective. They do lose Nero, going for the Stagger onto the Venom. And Alex catches Cal. Hold on a minute. Envy's hubris might have hurt his head. By going for that late Stagger, they've opened the door for Citadel to come back into the fight.
Oh no, might be yet another fumble here from Envy. Might live to regret it, but for now they've got a couple of resources to try and play with. Final stand ready to go from the side of Speedily, only 8% shy of it. Will of course be able to build up the rage on the way through as well. Enzo managed to hit the corrosive grass to slow down many players. What a stun, a Terror Cape. They just burn through the Venom. The last stand is the last note potentially here as Envy Envy take control of the car, get rid of Tanuki, and down on the ramp they flow and they flow. It's a great river of Envy, and it's all blue in the frag feed as Citadel are wiped off the cart.
That is the one worry with Venom. He's a walking hitbox.
He is.
In comparison to the Captain America, who can bounce those projectiles back and with the shield block Terror Cape, the second that the Venom shows up, you get Luna just coming on through with the freeze, and then it's lights out for Enzo. We saw it, just immediate freeze, Terror Cape, gone. That Venom lasted all of 2 seconds.
Yeah, bro managed to catch Cal coming back from spawn as well, I believe, after getting taken out by the ice darts of Alex during that stagger phase. Thought maybe it might have been a fumble from Envy, but seems like...
they recovered.
Yeah, they recovered, and Citadel, they got a little bit over it. They got a little bit antsy with the 2 frags having Trevor like, oh, we've basically won this already, not realizing that they still had their own reinforcements yet to come.
Yeah, and I mean, for Envy too, they could invest in aggressive Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bond after they were able to pick Enzo, because the only thing that they had to worry about ultimate-wise afterwards was Dance of the Butterflies, which you can deal with either a strategist ultimate or numbers, just stacking on the objective, which is exactly what Envy just are able to do because they have all of the bodies, and Citadel couldn't even go for the Dance of the Butterflies because Pokey would have been counted as uncontesting the objective and they would have lost the map regardless, even if it did find the picks.
This is where the value of that Wolverine bang comes through right here. Just the uneven danger being faced by these groups right now. Enzo has to play so cowed compared to Window, who can be incredibly aggressive.
Yeah, Citadel once again going to be going for a triple Vanguard, triple strategist lineup. Envy this time not on the Storm. They were able to secure a one-sided Wolverine and they are going to take advantage of it. That Wolverine looking for a grab. Pokey already going incredibly low as Enzo is not having a fun time on this group.
Yeah, doing their best to track. Sentient's not going to be able to be seized from the Phoenix right there. And Cal, oh, look at all those sparks. He's just burning them.
I mean, Tanuki is building up Rage of Ultron, though, which is going to be coming online almost as quickly as Cal gets his. Nero gets the pick, though. Polly goes down. Citadel down a Vanguard. Now have to swap in the Strange.
Yeah, have to swap in the Strange. Come back as quickly as possible up here on the car. Everyone just making sure to, if they're going to fall, they got to do it on the floor of Colossus so they can come back with that portal and burn this time back as easily as they can.
Yeah, but Strange doesn't have a great time into Wolverine as that grab just slides right through that shield, and Envy don't even stop Citadel. They don't even go for a portal to try and throw bodies onto the point. I think they're just holding on to it to have a recontest if it goes a little bit south when they head to second fight. As the portal came through, and it's a little bit too close to the edge.
All right, Spiddly caught in this moment for now. I think may have been grabbed. Oh, that's a huge last stand.
Yep.
The damage, the healing is great though from Tanuki. The Rage of Ultron echoes throughout Araco. Spiddly resets off the side, knowing that this one is done, though. Tanuki's going to go for a quick swap elsewhere here, back onto the Human Torch.
Yeah, that could have been brutal if Enzo had been able to build those walls before Envy were able to find the ledge off of that map. It is going to be a very fast regroup, but it's going to be down the Eternal Bond and the Last Stand and even the Strangling Prison. We do have Emerald from Kaluge to open up this fight with Psionic Seduction, but Citadel already getting ready to disengage it.
Yeah, they don't want to be in a position where they could potentially be taken off the map here by a grab coming through from a Wolverine. And we've seen Speedily cook on that one previously. And Tanuki wants this corner. Out comes the Sonic Seduction in towards the back now. Tanuki almost cooked already by the Phoenix. Alex happy to match when it comes through. And you can see that Polly just rises up above it. Out comes the Eye of Agamotto. 2-player stun. Kaluge and Window both. The stun is good, but the follow-up is not there. Nero's more than happy to try and grab through this one. Isolated is Polly. Down on top of them all goes the Phoenix. Cal caught within a Strangling Prison potentially, but everyone's just trapped in here with Speedily instead. The damage is done, and the damage is good.
Oh, Tanuki committed Supernova on that too.
Oh, no.
And that's going to burn Citadel's chances of this next fight. Ken's going to have Eternal Bond, but I mean, that's going to be a rough one. You're going to have to burn that just to live the Strangling Prison from Window, and then Envy gets Strategist ultimate advantage with Month getting one-sided Eternal Bond as we head towards a potential last fight, especially if they have to take time to clear off this Wolverine. Like, Cal and Speedily right now, just posting up aggressively means that that card is just moving further and further to the final fight.
Just free movement here for the Flora Colossus. Feels no toll roads in the way. And Polly just going to try and get a quick crunch here, get in the way of that Flora Colossus while the remainder of the team try and get control of the high ground. Speedily noted, Enzo's already used his diamond form to remember is going to be vulnerable to CC, one of the midst of the enemy team. Pokey playing around the outside, the Eternal Bombs are going to be exchanged already. Cow's going to be the primary target here, but it seems like the healer's going to be more than good enough. Tanuki not quite so lucky. The remainder of Citadel Gaming feel their walls crumble under the weight of envious power. And well, for Envy, it wasn't even a big investment that was needed, only the Eternal Bond.
Oh, Pokey goes down last. They don't have Rage of Ultron to combat Strangling Prison. Envy can just push up 3 people on objective to get the maximum speed. Polly's onto the Strange to try and set up a portal in time, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Even if the portal comes on through, potentially getting nabbed by a Wolverine.
Okay, out comes the Strangling Prison, already brought on through here by Window. It's unbelievable value. Speedly's up close and personal, carving through for Citadel. Your walls are no match for Adamantium Claws. And it's Cow who manages to strike pay dirt here with the Phoenix in towards the back. The Sonic Seduction might well grab all of this, and there's still no one on the objective. Envy are on the cusp of a reverse sweep.
That was sweat on Envy's side when we went to Egress. Now, that pressure, that stress, it's purely on the shoulders of Citadel. Will they crumble, or will they be able to, like Atlas, bear the weight of the world and lift it to the sky? We'll have to wait and see, because it's going to be up to them to take us to the next map. But what a turnaround for Envy. Again, they got a better read of the ban strategies this time around. They got the one-sided Wolverine. They were able to, even then, like, they let Tanuki have Torch. They let Pokey have Torch too. But they took the Wolverine out, and I think the Wolverine was the greater enemy in regards to the fact that they wanted to play Window in the group.
Yeah, it felt like Speedly was very comfortable on the Wolverine, despite it mostly being Cal who plays it in my memory. But like we said, we don't want to take Cal off of Phoenix. He's got hot hands right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have Cal playing the Phoenix and you have Speedily on the Wolverine, hey, free lifesteal on all of your damages. So it is what it is. That team up is insanely strong, and I was really surprised. Like, when we were coming into this, and a lot of teams were saying, like, yeah, Wolverine's not really banned out, but he's not seeing all that much play. And then we went on to main stage, and it feels like a lot of teams are just hiding the strategies that they actually wanted to play that Wolverine, because he's been doing the damages for the last 2 days.
Yeah, he might be able to pick up the MVP from this one. Not sure. Feels like getting the drop-off on Enzo really early on that point as well was super valuable, because that, like in that kind of instance as well, the enemy strategist can't convert any of that damage into ultimate charge. So it's all gravy for Wolverine, baby.
Yeah, and I mean, Envy really impressed when they were able as well to just disable any of the teleport recontests coming on through. But that's one of the things when you run the Wolverine and you see where that portal's coming on through, because they have so little time, it has to be on the objective.
Yeah.
It's not like a Pep's hold strategy, right, where sometimes second fight isn't portaling onto the objective. Sometimes you prioritize having a higher portal point so that you will drop when the team are least expecting it. This time around, they have so little time, they have so little presence on the map, they have no choice but to walk directly into danger with absolutely no sense of the surroundings, through the portal, into Strangling Prison, into Wolverine.
I mean, Shades of FlyQuest as well. I know that in the last match it was Tanuki talking to Iron Fist to touch.
Yes.
But in the last 2 times we've seen it on Central Park and Morocco during the state of regular play, I remain thoroughly unconvinced.
Yeah, Iron Fist, he's a strange one. I know
He's
a lot
a
of
weird
duelist
guy.
players, like they try and play him, and I feel like it's definitely not the last time that we're going to be seeing the Iron Fist in the tournament.
I can hope.
We'll have to wait and see to see whether or not he does start finding a little bit more real estate value, but it was rough, I think, for the side of Citadel, where they were trying to figure out what exactly to do, because they got the Human Torch, right? They got the group, but we never got to see the wombo combos. Like, Envy did such a good job of just dismantling each of those win conditions so that they were never lined up together.
Yeah, like they never managed to get the ticks up at the same time.
Yeah.
It felt like Envy always had the right strategy, just at the right time as well. Far flung from the brain farts of Idrisil Park.
Maybe it was nerves.
Yeah.
It could potentially be nerves. Some teams take a little bit of time to warm up into, and that's why like BO1s are as lethal and brutal as they are, because if you are one of those teams, you don't get that little bit of warm-up time in a BO1. It's you perform here and now, or you're done. But in a BO5, you get the opportunity, you get a little bit of time so that you get some breathing space. You can be like, okay, this is what my opponent likes to play. even if they play a different composition, this is still the play style and speed that they like to play. Do they like to go first? Do they like to go second? Are they aggressive? Are they more defensive? Maybe they're a little bit in between and we have to try and read the room a little bit more. But for Envy, it definitely feels like the dust has settled and they've been able to find their footing on the stage.
We're all out of breathing room now, Mox. The potential for a reverse sweep is on the cards, 2-2. What a treat we have.
I know, we are blessed. Loki would probably say, I am burdened with glorious 5 maps. We're not burdened at all. This
with
is
glorious series.
we have an absolute blast up here on the desk, and we can have a look and see all of these wonderful statistics. Speedily, doing so much damage, as well as a lot of damage being blocked to show just how much that Wolverine was able to survive.
A bit of a stinker from Pokey as well. One final hit across all of that. Playing some Emma, playing some Ultron, yes. Also played a little bit of a Psylocke.
And some Human Torch too.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, he was on the Human Torch, and okay, so we talked about, you know, Cloak and Dagger versus Invis Woman when it comes to Human Torch, right? First of all, we do have to just say, wow, Hero, 50,000 healing, absolutely insane. 27 assists coming in through, which goes to show that Idle Aura was placed on the correct targets at the correct times, and 67% accuracy coming on through as well. So final hits, a lot of those probably going to be coming out from those ice odds. But returning back to what we were talking about, right? Human Torch, Invis Woman versus Cloak and Dagger. Which do you traditionally want to have as your strategist? Invis Woman definitely has the lead on Cloak and Dagger for one very specific reason. Eternal Bond. Eternal Bond is an ultimate that has a lot of healing output, yes, but you have to be physically touching it on the ground to receive it. Where does a Human Torch play from?
Up in the air, Mox.
Up in the air. So the only way that you're actually going to, as a Human Torch, be able to receive any modicum of Cloak and Dagger healing is if you burn a cooldown as Human Torch to be able to dive bomb that ground.
Yeah.
And there were multiple fights where we saw Eternal Bond come through from the side of Citadel, and immediately the first person to fall was Pokey before he could get any part of it. Yeah,
Pokey and Tanuki both, I think, managed to avoid the healing coming through from that Eternal Bond, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality. It was great heads-up play from Envy. Like, okay,
yeah, quite literally, heads up. Just turn the heads up.
Eternal Bond happening. It's time to look heads up. We gotta get rid of that flying guy before he gets down here to take advantage of all that healing. As we look at our replays and highlights from Morocco, and I'm sure it's going to be filled with Cal and Speedily.
Speedily on that Wolverine. Very problematic for both the Groot and the Doctor Strange to deal with. And we got to see Envy just taking full advantage too of the amount of time that Citadel had to take. If they're having to clear out the Wolverine so that their Vanguards don't walk unsuspecting into it, that's time that Tanuki isn't getting to set up and play, because you're actually having to take those lane fights. You don't have a Psylocke to be able to clear them for the most part. It's up to your Iron Fist to clear those lanes out and give the intel to your team on where that Wolverine is going to be playing.
Very impressive so far. Like I said earlier, that maybe it's not worth banning Chaos Phoenix. I might be reconsidering.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is worth, because Bro's doing work. Bro's doing so much work.
Yeah, that Phoenix was very problematic. I mean, if you're Citadel, I'm trying to think, how would you deal with a Phoenix other than potential hit scan? Because
that's the fun thing, Mox. You don't.
Maybe it's Psylocke, but she's not really like up in the air as much as you would see a Human Torch or a Storm or an Iron Man. And also, if she is up in the air, then she's getting auto ammo refresh against that Psylocke, so she can still win the duels against you. Like, it's a rough one. It is definitely a rough one, and it's one that Citadel are going to have to figure out. And I think we're going to get our answer in the ban phase. Like, they're either going to come up with a strategy that deals with it, or they're going to ban it out entirely.
Yeah, it really feels like the first ban of a human on the Captain America has been fatal.
Yes.
For Citadel, they're just so used to being able to troll the objective with the living legend jumps and the sprints and just being generally annoying.
Yeah, and the bounces, like their dominations have always looked incredibly clean, because the second that they get 1% of point control, we know that they're not going to be giving it up until that's widened out to something like 50% or 60%. And Enzo is a very flexible Vanguard player, But unfortunately, the same cannot really be said for Poly. And it's definitely looking rough because not only now has Envy's weakness been shown to all of the other teams in terms of how to break that egress path, Citadel's weakness in the ban phase has now been shown, which is, some would say, worse.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one map that you can then avoid or come up with a different strategy entirely. It is now every single map, and you don't, no matter whether you're the attack, no matter whether you're the defense, there is no side that gets an immediate block.
Yeah.
Both teams get a ban and a ban before any team gets a save. So that Captain America every single time that Citadel face any other team can be taken off of the board immediately.
Yeah, and unlike an in-game recipe like we saw on Envy versus Egress Path, you can't fail the execution of banning Captain America.
No.
And if you do, then you shouldn't be at this LAN.
It's the attention check.
Yeah.
It is quite literally oh, can you see the screen? Can you see how well Envy have started doing ever since they started banning the Captain America? Spot the pattern.
Corporate needs you to spot the pattern in these two images. One's got Citadel crying, one has a banned Captain America. Can you see the connection here?
Yes, and this time they're not the same image. They are two very different images.
I'll have to see if I doubt there's a reason to abandon this Captain America ban at this point.
No.
We're not going to see it for the rest of the series. It is going to be, is that Krakoa?
That is indeed Krakoa.
Okay, so we are heading back to Domination. This makes a lot of sense, considering that it is once again Citadel's map pick. This chaotic game mode is very good for Psylocke. This is where Poke is really going to get some value.
Yes, very, very good for Psylocke, very, very good for Captain America, although feel like we're not going to be seeing all that much of Steve Rogers. He can do it all day. Unfortunately, the ban
You can do it all day over there somewhere.
Yeah, just, sit down in the corner, grab some water, make sure that you're hydrating. As we are going to be headed into the last map, our first 5 mapper, our first best of 5, and our first 5 mapper.
Damn. What Faustian bargain did we make, Mox? What does Mephisto got on you?
Probably Loki buffs.
In return, there should be no cooldown on my tokens. I consider this to be quite the bargain, more.
I would be, well, no, I would not be very happy about that one. I don't think a lot of people would, but yeah, you can see the faces on these players. There's sweat on those brows. There's a lot on the line. Not only is it to continue in the upper bracket, there's also region pride on the line.
Oh,
because
yeah.
ever since Marvel Rivals has dropped, well, I say ever since. No, ever since the dawn of esports,
yes,
there has been a region rivalry between EMEA and NA. The back and forth between every single game's title, and Marvel Rivals is no different.
There was probably NA versus EMEA in like Pong. What region is the better Pong?
You know what? It would not surprise me. It absolutely would not surprise me. But this is where we get to see the matchup between these two teams. They're very, very similar in certain aspects in terms of the meta that we had developing before, but it definitely feels like NA and EMEA have since branched out and found their own separate identities. And one of the things that we were a little bit worried about for Citadel back when they were Berber Patapim at the beginning of their season was, is this a team that's a little bit too one-dimensional in terms of reliance on the Captain America, on the Psylocke, on the dive?
Yeah. We'll have to see if there's a second dimension here. I mean, there are definitely some worlds that we've seen in scrims that we won't really talk about. There are extra dimensions here, but like so much of it is cruxed around that Captain America. Like so many different styles can be enabled just by the distraction that it brings to the table. And also, Poly is like the primary leader for this team when it comes to engagement.
the shot caller too.
It's much more difficult to do that when you cannot augment your own positioning very quickly to manufacture the engage you want.
Well, it looks like Salah is giving the team a big old pep talk and coming up with a very specific strategy on how they're going to be opening up this variant of Krakoa. What's it going to be? They know it's coming. We know it's coming. We don't need the time stone to be able to look forward in about 20 seconds or so and predict Steve Rogers popping up on the wrong side of that ban portrait for Citadel to deal with. And there he goes.
Instantly. Human Torch going to be taken away on the other side. They've learned enough, but speedily, he's a difficult beast to deal with, and even more so on the Human Torch. Question is, would you rather deal with his Wolverine or a Psylocke?
Well, it's going to be the same ban format. Citadel also going to be saving that Luna. Is Envy going to be removing Ken's Loki once more before they're going to grab themselves a Luna of their own? Psylocke, Emma still all in play.
Okay, next up, going to be the mirror ban here. No one wants four Fate of Both Worlds going at once. I can barely cast one mod.
Yeah, we're not going to be hearing a 24-second pause fight, as absolutely nothing is going to go down because of 250 heals per second. As Citadel know that it's a domination map, know that MV do like to run triple strategist lineups, and we'll be taking the Mantis out so that both the res comp and the Ultron becomes that much weaker. And Envy, knowing that it's oh, there we go. I wondered if we were going to get a development of a potential Phoenix save coming on through from Envy, as Citadel do indeed ban Jean Grey.
And they bring out their Wolverine. This might force a counter Jean Grey ban here. Although no, they'll just get rid of a Human Torch. Each time they do this, I'm like, oh, but Tanuki's going to play the other. But it does constrain them quite heavily.
That or it was mind games, where they were like, if we save the Wolverine, you guys will think Tanuki's playing the Wolverine. And your better bet at dealing with Pokey is if he's on the Torch.
Yeah.
So maybe you guys won't ban the Torch. We'll be able to get Torch through. It would be, you know, wishful thinking, as it's something that Envy just cannot allow to happen. And I think it's smart too, because like you said, it now actually secures them one-sided Phoenix.
Yeah, one-sided Phoenix also could mean a one-sided Wolverine team-up as well. But with Psylocke available, Psylocke can kind of...
Psylocke and Emma and Luna.
Yeah, she can kind of cosplay Thanos here. So the question is for Cal, what are they going to play here now? Maybe we see Cal pick up the Wolverine duties?
Yeah, I mean, Envy also have access, though, to the Emma themselves, which is going to make it a little bit more problematic for Pokey to be able to find value. There's a lot of peel potentials coming on through for Envy to have to deal with. But it's really going to be about target focusing down the specifics. If Envy are able to put speedily on something like that Psylocke with the Captain America.
Okay, well, it all comes down to this. 2-2, Envy on the edge, reverse sweep. NA versus EMEA, a tale as old as time, and an opening portal here to attempt to try and grab something early. Polly misses out on the Carbon Crush to begin with. It's going to be Kaluch who manages to hit pay dirt with that one. Pokey looking for a target. The diamond form, Emma, is unideal. It's going to be an equal trade until Tanuki falls down as well. In the back is Window picking up the Captain America. They miss it so badly on the side of Citadel, but Envy more than happy to take the Patriot himself and bring justice to that backline.
Oh, this is going to be really rough for Citadel to have to play a retake into, because Envy, we get our answer. It's going to be Cal on the Winter Soldier coming on through. And that is going to be really, really concerning, because both the Venom and the Psylocke and the Wolverine can all get massively targeted down by those bionic hooks.
Okay, rolling out now, Enzo swapping over onto the Magneto. It's going to allow for a little bit extra protection if someone gets grabbed in by the bionic hook of the Winter Soldier. For now, Window just managing to wrap around.
Envy gonna be holding. Kaluj sees a little bit of pressure. Tanuki, seeing that it's a little bit too hot to commit into this fight, is going to be removing himself, and all the while Window as well has been able to bounce the attention to make sure the Citadel don't get the freedom to be able to commit speedily on the off angle. Gets a little bit of damage. They see an opportunity, the backline split from the Vanguards, and that's going to be an all-in. Out comes the dance with the Butterflies. The dance partner also from Window, but Citadel are able to stack, and it's not a single ultimate committed to avoid it.
Invisible boundary brought on up here by Ken. It's only on half of the point, though, and now Month's going to dive on into it with the Eternal Bomb. That's plenty of healing moving forward, and it's going to stay for a while. Speedily managed to find Alex, and the remainder of Citadel have absolutely been torn apart. Yeah, Pokey managed to take out Month and get rid of that Eternal Bomb, but already the space has been given away, and Envy continue to accumulate percentage towards their reverse sweep.
Oh, the chase. They know that there's a Venom around. They're looking for him.
They can sense him. They can smell him.
Cal's got Kraken Impact too. Ken is going to have to be incredibly careful. That Kraken Impact is going to be really dangerous. Pokey does have Dance with the Butterflies, but Alex is going to have to hold on to the damage amp just to be able to give Citadel a sustainability option. The Venom's in, trying to chase onto that Psylocke just to force a reposition so Citadel can try and fight onto the point itself and accumulate damage into the Dance with the Butterflies from Pokey.
Freedom charge ready to go. Pokey can't quite isolate a target there with the Dance with the Butterflies. No final hits are going to be bound. Poly chasing on down, almost full charge on the Emma beam. Cellular corrosion from the Venom slows down multiple players, makes this far more difficult to escape from the seduction of the Emma. And now Poly rolling on forward. Ken's been taken down by Speedily in the back. No clutches this time from Envy, but still 99% is nothing to raise your nose at.
Speedily's going to have to answer the butterflies too. Citadel are going to have that player sacked. They can't afford to use invisible boundary into that one. It's going to open them up to psionic seduction if they do. So it has to be giving up those angles, because if they play too spread, everyone's going to go down to the opening ultimate coming on through from Envy. Pokey just scouting, getting ready for that 3-point dive. The Venom, the Wolverine, the Psylocke, they all hit at the same time, and Nero is obliterated within mere moments.
Oh, Nero never stood a chance against all of this. Still with that bubble on the floor, there's plenty of sustainability for remainder of Envy. Still with one strategist, maybe you can't move that far forward. Kalu still feels the need to stay in here. Pokey's fallen down, Cameron's just chased them down for Sonic Seduction. Kalu just seeing the opportunity, and it's a chase down onto Enzo. Symbiotic Resilience will keep him alive for a moment longer, gripping onto Symbiotic Peril. It's going to be a quick grab there onto Sanuki, diving inside the invisible boundary. Bionic Hook's ready to go as the Eternal Bond keeps Envy sustained. Month needs to be held onto for yet a moment longer here as Cal has the Kraken impact going in towards the Lunar Snow. You hear it once, you hear it 1,000 times, again and again and again, and the envious power crescendos to a supernova in control of the point. 99%. You're going to need more than a katana and a can-do attitude to turn this one around, Pokey, as the symbiote himself rolls on up as Noel's favourite child is taken down to Tartarus. A quick grab coming through from Tanuki. No final blow is grabbed, but they do at least have the extra healing here coming through from the Fate of Both Worlds. Speedily plays around the margins. Dance for Butterflies ready to go, but will it be a Dance Macabre or a Tango with victory? Multiple players stacked on up means that it's spread out damage and all will survive except for Cal, of course, who gets their veins racked by the dark energies of the Maelstrom. The Dark Arts exact a price, and that price is paid by Envy. A retake here coming through from the side of Citadel, and they survive a moment longer.
A slight sunk cost fallacy approach there coming on through from Envy. Ooh. They committed so many ultimates, you would think it would be 99 to 99. There's another fight still on the field. Nero does have the Fate of Both Worlds, but do they get the opportunity to use it? Not if Pokey has anything to say about it. Already we can see the forward position from Citadel. They're not going to let Envy use those ults on the objective. The fight is going to happen right here, right now. The second they cross into open space, that Lunar is open season.
All right, moving out, forces out the early usage of the ultimate right there. Enzo needs to escape with their life, and indeed they will. Poly raises up the invisible boundary. Just a little tourist for now. That's a big grab coming through. Forces out the self-bubble there from the Magneto and the Sonic Illusions as well to try and distract any of the incoming damage. Speedily almost has himself a final stand, and already the damage has been done. Cal's going to get themselves yet another reset to scream out again to high heaven, and it's over to Poly, where there is going to be the damage delivered. The Terror Cape racks on through. A little miss there from Cal, but it's okay because plenty of members are struck with the culling aura, and Cal finds reset after reset. You want a hero, and I'll show you Cal. The Winter Soldier forbears the incoming of inclement weather, and it's getting real chilly here for a Citadel fan.
There's no strange portal. That is the closer. Envy will be able to take Carousel on Krakoa, and we now move to round point. Can Envy find the back-to-back, or will Citadel be able to pull it back? They banned the Phoenix. They thought that they had Cal Red. They forced him onto the Winter Soldier, and now they're going to have to find a way to fall this season. Otherwise, it's going to be down to the lower bracket for EMEA's first team.
Flashbacks to Season 1, Mox. Flashbacks to Season 1, when it felt like every single matchup was decided by who had the better Winter Soldier. And the callous roars of again and again and again, I thought were the echoing whispers of a shattered empire. But still, this castle stands.
Envy did such a good job, too, of reading. 3% Alex was when that first Kraken impact rang on through, away from Fate of Both Worlds. They perfectly caught the Luna, who was rotating away to not get caught before the ultimate was up in time. What an ultra coming on through from Envy.
It's anybody's game, Mox. But Envy are on the edge of a reverse sweep, unperturbed, unbothered by the danger that was before them.
Citadel do have the lead in terms of ultimates for this first fight, but Envy really have a great comp at being able to shut down all of the dive components of their opponent. It's going to be down to Cal's value on this Winter Soldier. Can Citadel finally find a way past it?
Oh no, that's an unfortunate miss there from Tanuki. Maybe a touch of nerves hitting. That's a huge investment of 2 ultimates here, but still Nero managed to survive. Metallic Bulwark coming out exactly the right time from window. And I stare through this window to see many a frag. And whoa, okay, we're going in with the Meteor M. Okay, nerves going both ways, I suppose. However, it's stopping players up for the Dance of a Butterfly. Speedily trying to convert onto this one, but realizing the damage has been shared on out, has to disengage.
Oh, but what a force. Citadel burned Eternal Bond.
Oh, that's a big force.
They don't have Fate of Both Worlds. If Envy reset now and don't commit damage to Citadel so they don't heal, they don't get Fate of Both Worlds to stop Kraken Impact. Envy are about to walk into this fight without poking a single time.
All right, already a little bit of poke coming through from Enzo in towards the back. Window is softening up the targets to allow Cal to move in thereafter. Need to know where that Winter Soldier is. Poly becomes immune to all CC while within that diamond form and coming back with their own here. Poly's going to use the Sonic Seduction. Remember, that might stop Cal from using their own Ultimate Veil within the LOS of it. But for now, Cal stays surviving. Everyone just groups on up for heals here, but Alex going down and Ken as well. The damage done is permanent. Cal still commits to the fight right here as the Kraken Impact is going to be taken out by a tree. Who would win? One of the best DPS in the world, or one Barky boy?
Well, Carbon Crush wins against Alex. Apparently, that Paulina, again, less than 5% off the ultimate. The target focus from Envy, the second they get the call that Alex is down, out comes the Kraken Impact, and Citadel have no leg to stand on. Silver lining for them, they're going to have it into this next fight. Potentially even to damage boost up Feast of the Abyss, but when you have Feast of the Abyss and Dance of the Butterflies, you can combine the 2 of them and still hold on to that defensive to match Witch with Mumps.
Window scanning is good. Ice Arts is noted. And for now, just plays in cover. I think that beam is going to be very brutal to try and deal with. Not going to be too much of a frenzied arrival value right there. Pokey can't isolate a target, but Cal is taken out on the other side. Eternal Bond was too far away, and now into the back. They really want Nero, and you better believe they're going to get him. Citadel Berber have managed to convert on the dive right here. Envy with only 3 players remaining. Might well be able to try and keep this one stalled out. The Freedom Charge giving over so much in the way of extra HP, but Kaluj is overwhelmed by the dark depredations of Venom's tentacles. And here we're seeing a recontest come through. Oh, we've lost control of a point, though. Yeah. Oh, what a body block.
Yeah, the body block is great from Citadel so that Envy couldn't just keep that point stalled out long enough for Speedily and Kaluch to come back in with their ultimates. Punish the fact that Alex used theirs in the engagement prior. Citadel now do have that Eternal Bond. Cal's actually off of the Winter Soldier onto the Punisher instead of holding on for the Bionic Hook to grab the Cloak and Dagger out of their ultimate. We're going for just blitz burst damage when the dive comes through.
Raw damage, baby, and that's certainly being felt by Poly right now, wrapping around their back. They have eyes on the Punisher, and they're going to opt in for the Magneto. The Feast of the Abyss gives over so much extra HP to that Venom. In close, it's a big chomp from Enzo, and well, Venom's eating those heads today, that much is for sure. Up against 2 Vanguards, it's not the ideal duel here for Venom, where we're able to match his health pool, and now at 99%, Envy have almost managed to flip this one back around. Tanuki doing their best to dance for their life.
Yeah, but Citadel, they put Pokey onto Strange. They're going to try and fight this. They know that Envy don't have a Doctor Strange to go for a portal recontest, but like you said, it's a little too late. Their players had already fallen. There was too much burst on the side of Envy, and now Citadel have burned that chance of portal recontest.
Oh, that could be an uncharacteristic fumble here from the side of Citadel Gaming. They just could not get it before the point flip back.
Ken's going to have Final Judgment too. CC immunity on the Punisher ultimate to be able to go toe-to-toe with Psionic Seduction coming on through from Poly. It's going to be a matter of these ultimates. Who's going to be able to find the vibe? Both of these teams don't have a reset, regroup opportunity. They have to finish it here and now.
All for one and one for all. Cellular Corrosion already moving on forward, trying to shut down the usage of that ultimate, suppressing it, silencing it with the Sonic Seduction. Already halfway towards this is Citadel Berber. Speedily tries to isolate but one target inside the dance. The Butterflies is moving on forward. In comes the Meteor M. Who is the dunk going to be on? Window can't quite connect out. This keeps everyone healed on up as Ken's already used all this. Cal over onto the other side. The Metallic Bulwark's in just the right position. A disengage is good, and a Final Judgment's better. The Feast of the Abyss to try and roll on through it, already to have fallen. It's a big value from Pokey. The Dance of the Butterflies. It's a tango of doom. home, and that's going to be Kaluj on the point, doing their best to try and keep this one held on down. But Psylocke can't really keep this one sustained. There's no healing to try and play with. A final stand delivers. Tanuki keeps it alive, and now it has to be this last touch. It has to be a flip on over. For Star-Lord has arrived in the midst of all of this, flying away to do all that he can to keep this one contested.
Ken's come back on the Jeff. There's heals for Citadel that aren't there for Envy. Tanuki's still on the Wolverine, pressuring Envy to go for a teleport recontest, and Cal is not able to get away. No Star-Lord, no iframe, but Speedily is almost close to that ultimate, Harry, and if it comes out, Citadel is going to be stuck on point.
Kaluj just got yet another one, and that's going to be taken off the point, but it had to be this way. There was no other way it could be. 2-2, 1-1. We're going the distance. NA versus EMEA.
We thought that this could be close. This is NA's third seed versus EMEA's first, but given what we've heard from Envy in terms of scrims, they've been doing the best out of all of the teams present. So coming in at that third seed is deceptive. What a wrap. What a distance that we're getting to see. Full 3 rounds of Krakoa, and now for Citadel and Envy, it comes down to this. Cal potentially goes back onto that Winter Soldier. The Punisher, I like the fact that they had that burst damage, that pick potential immediately punching through both the Psylocke and the Venom, as well as that potential final judgment to be able to shut down the Psionic Seduction. But it really did feel like the Bionic Hook, just being able to stop the dives and displace Citadel's players, especially when they had strategist ultimates. With that Eternal Bond, just found so much more value, and apparently Cal feels the same. It's going to be a portal from Citadel, though, to try and win out this first fight, as they're going to look to just jump one specific target before Speedily can cover the ult, and Cal's gone!
Oh, the ancestors of all 12 players. They are smiling on them today. Nero just going to do their best to try and escape from this one. Maybe a little bit of poking around from the side of Window. Pokey stayed around too long, though. Enzo has to try and clean this one up. It should be a free first cap here in favor of Citadel Berber. Window's... Oh, my goodness, the mid-air grab. Damn, Tanuki. Do it to him. Oh, they're going to come back with their own portal recontest. Window's fallen on down. The flesh sacrifice has been made, but it has stopped the first cap from coming on through. Kaluj drops down to Terra Firma. Speedily still has the Dance for Butterflies in the back line, but if you're within the LOS of this Psionic Seduction, then it's not going to be able to be used. An attempt to try and cut off the healing didn't work out in this case. Enzo gets absolutely nothing off the back of the Eye of Agamotto. It's still an all-out brawl here to try and get the first cap, trying to get on top of the Psylocke. Pokey wins out in that duel, and damage has been done elsewhere. Windows return in the midst of the mix, and that's going to be Citadel with their first cap, finally.
Yeah, Citadel just have more burst damage in the brawl phase. Envy have a lot of mobility with the Captain America and point bounce potential. With all of that, however, Cap into Strange and Emma is not going to be doing much of anything other than staying alive a little bit longer. It's Citadel going to be holding on to both the Last Stand and the Dance of the Butterflies. Tanuki going to be holding his position. They haven't scouted him. He's seen a free Cloak and Dagger who had that Eternal Bond, and Month is forced out of the fight. Wonderful blind to be able to self-heal the Wolverine out, and they catch him on the engage.
Oh, unbelievable. Question is, can Speedily move out? No, it's going to be an equal trade right here. Kaluj up close and personal almost has themselves yet another Psionic Seduction. Do you want to invest in this fight when you know that you're down on your Psylocke? A quick disengage, taking to the skies here is Enzo. It was a bit of a fake out though, as the Eye of Agamotto was unavailable. Pokey distributes the damage, utilizing this, and that's going to be a sentient seized. The Doctor seized as well. You're going to have to be more than a Doctor to heal through that one. Coming up close and personal to Kaluj. Oh, he only had a little bit of HP, and Tanuki gets the delivery, but still Envy have 4 players here to work with, and Citadel Berber are wiped off the point.
Citadel going for a fast recontest though. Ends onto the Venom just to get into the fight a little bit faster. They know that Envy are down these players. Speedily might be forced to part with the Dance of the Butterflies just to shut down this fight before it can begin, but no. Citadel aren't able to set up the dive in time. It's going to be angle control before they can find a hit.
All right, Enzo flitting around. Ice here onto Window. Tanuki might well be tempted in, but you can see how much Pokey's eating on the approach right here. They really want this Luna. The frenzied arrival's already been wasted though from Enzo. That's going to make it a little bit more difficult to try and get value out of this one. Kaluj is overextended. It is a trade for Alex, so some would say that's worth it, but Polly disagrees. Both of the Vanguards falling on down, and now it's down to Polly to make the decision. Are you going to go for the big investment here, utilizing your Psionic Seduction, waiting for the perfect time off the back of a cellular corrosion to try and deliver on the Feast of the Abyss? Can attempt to turn this one around. He needs to try and connect with Stern, but no! Pokey wins the duel! An unbelievable turnaround from the Psylocke, but Shinobi claims the life of the one and only Oni.
Oh my goodness, Pokey just strafed to crack an impact. If he goes down, Cal gets the reset. Citadel don't have a defensive. They all topple one by one again and again, but Pokey wins the 1v1 and Citadel survive. Final fight now coming on through for the side of EMEA. Polly's got to say Onyx Seduction. We're so far from that Eternal Bond month. So close. Winter's going to open it up. The Freedom Charge paving the way for Envy's come back into this fight, and Alex goes down.
They're already on top of Alex. Window gets grabbed on in here by the Sonic Seduction, but there's going to be no further damage that's coming in thereafter. Enzo falls on down. Cal's been punished elsewhere, but Speedley's absolutely feasting. It's a quick flip in favor of Envy, and now Citadel are in the hot seat.
Envy have the Eternal Bond. They're going to have another crack at impact too before that point percentage hits 100. Citadel have to have that in the back of their heads. Do they try and win it now, or do they try and bank up their ultimates? They've got both of their duelists. They've got Fate of both worlds. If they commit and they don't manage to find it, they lose the map. But if they do, they take it handily.
Enzo needs the perfect engagement here. Onto the back line would be perfect. You can see how far back they're playing here to try and avoid the pathing of the Venom. Enzo's already taken so much damage on the engage in towards the back. They want Nero so badly. Kaluch grabs for Sentience, and the damage is going to be good. Tanuka's already been taken out there by Speedley, and it hasn't really taken anything from Envy to do this. Sonic Seduction next on up, and then Tanuki might actually have to come on back here on the Doctor Strange. A quick portal coming through. Speedley on the other side. 1 HP, can't use the dance of the butterflies. Taken down by Ken. Pokey goes elsewhere. Alex falls out of the Fate of both worlds. Yet another crack in impact. Dive. He's trying to pull it off again. And now it's only the Lunar Snow. It's concentrated damage. Nero falls on down. And Enzo makes sure that none shall escape. Dodging on in to the portal. An attempt to find Window. There's no one there. Only 4% remains. Speedley's trying to come on back with a portal. But body block's not good. Speedley makes it out. They're standing in the way to stop it coming on through. But over time he's managing to stay in here for a moment longer. Oh no!
He's through! 12 seconds! Fate of both worlds. The stall from Envy is still through. The portal is down, but they've still got players. And now it's up to Window to board the Freedom Charge. And Envy can keep this fight going!
They've managed to claim control as well. Cal's back on the Wolverine, and there's nothing to be done to try and help the healers in the back line. The strategists are falling down. Envy find the clutch. Citadel thought they had it. There might be a Spider-Man, but this is no friendly neighborhood. It's all Envy, all the time, and all NA!
Oh my goodness, the stage turns blue. Envy finds the win.
Unbelievable scenes here. What a first match for our playoffs bracket. Citadel versus Envy. And well, behind the scenes, we all thought that Envy was the strongest team. They were pushed to their limits, but they seem to have that clutch gene in them.
Oh my goodness. Harry, that was match one! That was match one. There are so many things that were just insane about that last fight. The decision making, first of all, from Pokey to use the ultimate. He sees that he's been hit by that Kraken impact. He knows if he gives away, again, that pick against the Kraken impact, Cal's just gonna unleash righteous fury on the entire team. So he solo ults, so that he's intangible, so that the Bucky can't continue to chase that pick, and he just manages to find the pick, and you're like, okay, surely now it's going to be Citadel's game. They've got the better players, all of the numbers, they're coming on through, they've got everybody onto point, and then one strange portal. And then one strange portal, and then Nero, the hero of the hour with the Fate of both worlds. And truly, it was the Fate of both worlds to end the entirety of the series, because it buys them the time. 12 seconds to build Freedom Charge. And they've been able to find it. They've got the better sustain, they've got more players on the point, and they just sweep one by one the players from Citadel off the board.
Unbelievable clutch. Oh man. I mean, I was already a fan of Envy.
Yes.
They're earning more and more fans, because sometimes it's boring seeing a team just dominate their way through. You got to see the struggle, you got to see the adaptation, and today we saw plenty of adaptation. The question is, are teams just going to start first banning Cap against Citadel now? Is that the secret sauce? It's not that difficult to execute.
Yeah, and also it came through pretty early on in these stages. This is literally their first match.
Yeah.
So again, like, we applaud the players from Envy for being able to not just clutch out that insane overtime fight. The fact that they were able to just like keep calming, keep fighting, keep believing that it was still winnable goes to show what an amazing team they are. But that also they were able to come back from such a rough beginning. Because, you know, you cast your mind back way back to when we began all those many hours ago. And we had Hell's Heaven, which was Citadel's best comfort map. And then we had Egress Path, which, like I said, the best way that you can have approached that if you're Envy, take the mistakes that you've made and go, okay, this is how Citadel like to play against us. Understand that, take nothing else from that map. just full mental reset and just go in, look at the bans, and pick one specific person, find the carry, and remove them from play entirely. Yeah,
honestly, it's been a great bit of solve. And we said that when we're down 2-0, Gator had to earn his paycheck, and he certainly did. Bro's going to be calling up Hashel like, hey, boss man, I need a raise for this one, boys. I need a raise for this one. And honestly, everyone on Envy could right now. That was a lights-out performance. If they could play like that in the rest of the bracket, then this might be their tournament to win.
I mean, that felt like a grand finals. that could be the grand final.
We could see it again.
We could well see it again, but I mean, what an amazing way to open up the day. Like, whoever you're going to be facing, I think definitely if you're facing Envy next, there's a little bit more cause for concern because, as we've talked about, right, going against Envy, the solution that Citadel came up with was more map-specific and composition-specific, as opposed to Envy, who was just like, okay, if we ban Captain America, this game becomes 9 times easier.
Dude, look at Speedily here with 24 final hits. 34k damage.
Yeah, he popped up. I mean, 32,000 damage on Cal's side.
Jeez. Jeez.
Yeah, that Winter Soldier, it's problematic. It's very problematic. I mean, it was something actually that Dive faced problems with when Dive was originally becoming a thing in Marvel Rivals. Back before when we had the infinite ammo team up, and Winter Soldier was even harder for Dive to play into. And you would literally just rocket Z, your Punisher and your Bucky whenever there was a Venom or a Psylocke diving on through, and that Venom got shredded. And unfortunately for Citadel, lacking that Captain America, you lost a huge buffer with that shield being gone. That your Venom, every single time we saw Enzo, like, he was getting his dive timings. He was setting up perfectly from those angles. It's just he was hitting and getting instantly melted and having to use shield much sooner than he wanted to.
Yeah, here's our MVP, Speedily. Well-deserved 40 total KOs, but more than half of them were final hits. 39% accuracy, 34,000 damage. I mean, a lot of that is making sure that Enzo can't do what he wants. And we saw that Enzo ended up with the most final blows on his team as well. Enzo was doing some work, but it was Speedily who was keeping him count.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the Psylocke, the best thing that you can do is just shoot Vanguard.
Yeah.
Shoot Vanguard, build ultimate, full strategist ultimate from the other side. I mean, we're going to have a look at some of these replays coming on through. Wow, it feels like we played an entire series before we went back into Grove with how long that overtime fight went on Cradle. As we can have a look and see Carousel, there's the Kraken impact coming on through, and we definitely felt the impact of Cal's pick of that Winter Soldier. As we talked about, the Punisher coming on through on Grove was not anywhere near as pressing for Citadel to deal with as it was the Winter Soldier.
Question is, for Citadel Gaming, have they learned enough from this to be able to maneuver around like Captain America ban? Because of course they're not going to have to play again today. It's a while before we have to revisit them in the lower bracket. We're going to have time for a couple of scrims. Maybe they can put a little bit more time in Poly on these other heroes. Of course, Poly's pretty good on these other heroes. Not every day you go up against Envy.
I mean, Poly had some really good psionic seductions coming in through from the Amber, and even when we saw, you know, Yggdrasil, there was a couple of really good moments where we got the shield blocks with the Aegis coming on out. But yeah, Envy, they had the better read. They definitely had the better read in the second half of the series, and in a BO5, getting the better read on the second half of the series tends to be when you find the reverse sweep. Yeah,
always feels bad when you have to commit some of your bans towards things like Duelists because they're such a wide pool.
Yeah.
But that's what Speedily demands.
Yeah.
And that's what Cal demanded in the second half of the series as well. He was so on fire on the Phoenix. The hot hands had to be called on off, but that allowed for things like the Captain America to make it.
Yeah, and also the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're Citadel and you know that you're going to go that much into a dive, going for the Winter Soldier would have been probably a more valuable pick, just because like Phoenix does a lot of damage, but also doesn't have the same amount of CC that you have to worry about as a Winter Soldier, because not only is Bionic Cook worrying for one person, it's problematic for multiple people. Because like you're going from 3 different angles, but you're all converging into the same location.
Yeah.
So if you're a smart Winter Soldier, instead of like trying to predict where everyone's coming from and catching them mid-jump with a Bionic Hook, you just bait one of your squishies, you line them up perfectly, like, okay, just right there, and you sketch out a nice old X on the floor, and boom, Bionic Hook just nabs 3 people all at once.
Yeah, and it means that you can turn around your dives really well as well, because you've got your Psylocke and you've got your Captain America. You can commit a Kraken impact to that dive. And suddenly the threshold they have to meet to deliver on a frag is a lot lower, and you get a reset off the back of it.
Yeah, and CC immunity, which is really, really tasty to dodge out of things like Doctor Strange, Eye of Agamotto's, and also Groot ultimates coming on through. Plus, the Tainted Voltages were incredibly strong. Like, Cal was building up those Kraken impacts incredibly quickly because Tainted Voltage is the AoE damage that it can do. You get 2 charges of it too. And I mean, something that we have to talk about when it comes to Winter Soldier as well is his ability to survive. The fact that you don't have to hit anything and you still get shields. So you should always be winning your ones, and that is attached to like every single ability. So sometimes if you're wondering why when we're looking at Winter Soldier POV, he's literally just like 180ing that away and throwing an ability without hitting anybody, it's literally just so he has that extra little bit of HP and can just live something that's sent his way.
Yeah, just a lot of living. I was very impressed by Poke managing to win those duels against the Kraken Impacts twice in a row, but in the end, like you said, Nero just such a hero play to get that Fate of Birth ultimate was most needed. That took a lot of discipline and not panicking.
Yeah, I mean, also making sure that your Strange Portal is going to be in a good position too. So huge plays coming on through from the side of Envy as they're able to find the win. It did look at certain points, especially when we got to see, you know, the first parts of Cradle, that it was going to be Citadel walking away with it. They had the better ultimate economy coming into that fight. If they just had another defensive ultimate, then I think they would have been able to match up to the Luna Dance of Fate of Both Worlds as well as that Living Legend Freedom Charge coming on out, but they were out. They were out of those resources. They went for the full body block. They almost got the full body block. The Luna was able to make it past, and from there it was just done.
Yeah, and there was a lot of survivability that Nero earned there by changing their positioning. Instead of being near that portal, they played up on the high ground, realizing where Enzo was usually pathing his way through, and it forced Enzo to take a lot more poke on the commute over there. And a lot of that also charged up the Emma beam, and that's got some knock-on circumstances where like you're getting more damage out of the Emma, it forces out more healing resources, you're putting Sonic Seduction quicker.
It's more time too.
Yeah.
And time is a resource that's very, very valuable on all of the other map types, but more so on domination because time equals point percentage. So if you ask yourself like, oh, well, what would it have been like if they'd just been 1% closer?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to have as much time getting their Venom into a position and then restabilizing that Venom because he gets scouted out by the enemy team, gets shredded down to half HP. It's a rough one for sure.
Yeah, it was a little bit rough for Citadel, but for Envy, the glory is plenty. Let's head on down to the stage where Tetra has an interview ready with a member of Envy.
What is an incredible reverse sweep, probably one of the best series we have seen so far. The only question I can ask to start us off is, how do you feel after such a monumental win?
I'm absolutely amped. That was probably the most enjoyable match I've played so far in Marvel Rivals, and probably for them too, especially on stage or LAN. I'm absolutely amped.
So you've now played in the last 2 days against the most regions out of anyone. You've played against Asia, you've played against EMEA, you've played against obviously your own region back at home. So I have to ask, where do you think like the actual power rankings are in terms of which team is actually on top?
NA is just the best. These other regions just don't really understand how to play. I think that's the best team out of the other regions, and we're third in ours, like everybody said, like they've said, and we beat them, so anybody else in NA can too.
So I think it's safe to ask then your next matchup is going to be against Sentinels or Rad. Obviously Sentinels from your own region, Rad also from EMEA. Do you have a preference as to which one of those you'd like to play against, and if so, why?
Probably Sentinels, because word on the street is that they're better than us, and I think today we showed that they aren't. So I'm really excited to get a rematch from the Ignite qualifiers.
Which leads me to that. If Sentinel is going to be your opponent, or potentially Rad, and of course everyone else throughout the tournament, what words do you have for your future opponents?
I mean, just don't underestimate us. That's about it.